Okay, what's going on, everybody? Glad people are coming in. I'm not able to see the chat, but I'm told that there are people there. I'm sending out the text message now, so if you're signed up for the text message alert system, you should be seeing that momentarily. Let's see if I can remember the password to my chat application. Good, we're so good at security. Our passwords are like 1,000 characters long. Takes forever, especially when I'm in the metaverse. Oh, I'm in, baby. Oh, it says something's wrong. I'm in, but it's not in. There we go. Now I'm in. We'll see if anybody's chatting. Gons, is anybody chatting? Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm seeing one lousy Petunia, Kira OC. Okay, we got it working, folks. I'm going to be able to see the chat this episode. Isn't that fun? We got a show. We got a show today. It is technically a show. Weird time. Weird weekend for news. Sure, we'll be making comments about it, but we're glad to be here. Glad to be back. Let's see here. I am back in the metaverse, broadcasting from a sort of Matrix-like dystopia that Mark Zuckerberg says is the future. So if you believe the lizard people, I'm just ahead of the game. But we will see. See if I can make your chat big enough for me to see. Yep, there it is. Lane, how's it going? Got Hebert. One Making Texas. Oh, One Making Texas is back. Please get Rockfin streaming. One Making Texas says. Is our Rockfin not streaming, Gons? It is. I'm being told that our Rockfin is working. So if you are one of those people interested in watching on an alternate platform, you can go to Rockfin. I'm not exactly sure what our link is for that. Let's try it out. rockfin.com/CCNT is what I'm being told our Rockfin is. I will test it myself here. Yep, there it is. rockfin.com/CCNT. You can go check us out there. All right, well, I think the timer has probably run out at this point, Gone. So why don't we get this show on the road?
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is January 16th, I think. 2023. We are live to tape on episode 582, and today, Mount Davos Magic. And signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle, I'm your best buddy Basil.
And my name is Gonz, formerly of the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy. live to tape from rainy California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And today's emergent phenomena is slow but fast change.
Wow. So deep, so cryptic. You've got
not really.
In your old age, Gons, your crypticism.
Yeah.
Ooh, is crypticism a word? Because I'm gonna make it a word.
Okay.
I forgot to do my timer, so I'm gonna do that now.
Okay.
Hey everybody, we're starting it off. It is a Monday, and got weird day, weird weekend for news, huh? I mean, it's like there's definitely reports on things that you would think that we would care about. However, not a whole lot going on. There is an interesting, maybe one of our favorite transformative events, because it is supposedly transforming the world, Gons. And that is Davos.
Yeah.
We'll get more into that. But before we get too far, why don't we give a little canned disclaimer here?
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up.
YouTube. That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. We're good boys. So good. And that's why I better give y'all a rundown of what to expect here.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
That's right, folks. Davos is kicking off. We'll give you some of the leading coverage here in the mainstream media. Then Flippy is coming around. He's got something for your sweet tooth, everybody. And we will have a check-in on the progress of the transhumanist dystopian technocracy. Some new ways to fix your mental health ailments that I think some people will be very happy about. Then a new term in the Great Reset, the Great Reshuffle, the Great Rethink, all the great stuff. We've been tackling all sorts of terms coined by the mainstream as well as the elites. And there's a new one called the Great Comeuppance. What does that mean for you and our billionaires? Then we'll be checking in with AI and just how quickly it will be taking over all of the content online. I think that'll shock you. And then second half of show, we've got a COVID vaccine update. Lena Wen. You might remember her if you've been listening to us for a few years now. One of the most prolific pro-narrative writers online, changing her tune. That follows the trend we've been seeing, the great correction, as I might call it. And then, of course, getting slammed for becoming a crazy conspiracy theorist. Gons is bringing a very interesting Nephilim update that... I don't know, we might have to put a PG-13 rating on. But at the end of the show, we've got a nice rundown of some Antarctica propaganda and how some predictive programming might be telling us about the future. But first, Gons, our lead stories.
Davos is Pergamum. Thank you, Jonathan F., for that jingle. It's a new one, and we'll properly thank him later. But yeah, Davos kicks off today, and we have a story from the Financial Times opinion piece. A lot of opinion pieces right now. Maybe the news is slow, but the opinions are continually streaming in. And it says here, geopolitics threatens to destroy the world Davos made. Oh no. We must curtail geopolitics. The
world Davos made.
Davos made such a wonderful world. It might have been geopolitics. They're sure
getting a lot of credit for at least taking a lot of credit for something that most people don't think is a very cool thing.
Well, the irony is that the World Economic Forum is the one that's destroying the way things are, but of course, they're going to blame geopolitics, but
yeah, you need that double speak. You got to keep people confused.
Right. It says here, The Magic Mountain, Thomas Mann's classic novel set in Davos against the backdrop of a deadly disease and an impending world war, was published almost a century ago. But as World Economic Forum delegates gather again in Davos this year, Mann's world feels uncomfortably close to our own. Mann is the author there. The fear haunting the WEF is that a long period of peace, prosperity, and global economic integration could be coming to a close, just as it did in 1914. Now, Basil, that's one way to characterize the last century. Period of peace, prosperity, global economic integration. I mean, is it all positive? That's, a little euphemistic, I would say, but,
Really funny because that's basically just the summation of the sort of elite propaganda. I mean, you could hardly call the last century peaceful. I mean, we literally had two world wars, as well as just sort of a number of endless wars being perpetrated by the U.S. And this is global economy, this global integrated economy.
Global economic integration, as in, coming off the gold standard, the rise of fiat, and debt enslavement of nations.
Creating the fragility of our supply chains that could be taken down in a few months of lockdowns, stuff like that.
Yeah. This year's Davos slogan is cooperation in a fragmented world. Oh, the fragmentation began with COVID-19. Of course it did. With its lockdowns, closed borders, and disrupted supply chains. So the 2023 WEF, the first to take place in its regular winter location since the pandemic began, could be seen as signaling a return to normalcy. However, China's sudden abandonment of its zero COVID policy has raised fears that a new wave of variants could emerge. Yeah, the forever pandemic. And even if a fresh pandemic phase is avoided, COVID has left its mark on the way governments and businesses think about globalization. The assumption that goods and commodities can always be shipped easily around the world has been shattered. Businesses have moved from just-in-time supply chain strategies to just-in-case. Further global health emergencies are possible. Did you hear that, Basil? Further global health emergencies are possible. Other scenarios.
Oh, don't I know it?
Yeah. Other scenarios, once deemed remote eventualities, are in sharper focus. Extreme weather events are becoming more frequent. Are they? Which raises question about food security and travel. Cyber attacks by states or criminals threaten the infrastructure on which the modern economy relies. Often prompted by governments, businesses are having to change their ways. It is not wise to rely on complex supply chains vulnerable to disease, war, or other emergencies. Companies such as Apple, which boasted of products, quote, designed in California, assembled in China, are having to diversify production. Apple increasingly also produces in India and Vietnam. Okay, so that still sounds like a lateral globalization to me. I mean, it's like one form of globalization turning into another form of, it's like different team members, musical chairs. Let me skip down here. Russia's invasion of Ukraine last year demonstrated that the unthinkable can happen. The Russia-Ukraine war, Basil, was the unthinkable.
Yeah.
Europe's biggest war since 1945 is being fought less than 1,000 miles from the luxurious hotels of Davos. With the conflict in Ukraine still raging, the risk of escalation remains high. Nuclear war is the most frightening potential development, and one that has concerned the White House since the outbreak of fighting last February. Even if the use of nuclear weapons is avoided, the danger of widening conflict remains as NATO sends advanced weaponry to Ukraine and Iran supplies Russia with military drones. Have you noticed the pattern here where they're like, the worst case scenario is this, but even if it's not that, it's still bad because of this. They have like all these excuses for why even if it's not the worst thing, it's still troublesome. The conflict has shown how war can sever the economic ties in which globalization was built. Then it goes into EU and Russian energy, which, is kind of a back and forth right now. It mentions Taiwan. And then, this is the part that makes this Financial Times opinion piece interesting. And different, I would say, from other years in which Davos was reported in the mainstream. Political leaders, particularly in the West, must worry, too, about domestic pressures from populists.
Ah, there's that dirty word again.
Yeah, those dirty populists. Many of the latter have made the WEF a symbol of inequality and rootless international capitalism. In recent years, Davos has attracted the ire of anti-vaxxers, climate change skeptics, religious zealots, and hardline nationalists. The forum features in a range of conspiracy theories. On the wilder internet fringes, the WEF has been accused of using the pandemic to seize control of the world economy. I mean, listen, they're called the World Economic Forum. The leaders of industries, billionaires, and government leaders are meeting on a magical mountain to discuss how the world will operate. Is it that far?
Yeah.
Is it really the wilder internet fringe to suggest that the World Economic Forum is trying to seize control after a pandemic?
Well,
I don't know.
And the whole populism conversation, it gives it away.
Yeah.
Because populism, the definition of populism is, a political stance based on the wants and needs of the people.
Will of the people,
right?
Yeah.
And that's what you call Donald Trump was a populist because, he said the things that people liked. And it's also considered a bad word. It's considered kind of dirty because in the elite circles, it's supposed to be the elites know better. They know things the people don't. So you don't do what the people want. You do what the people need, even if they don't know what they need. It's this
We'll
very
tell
sort
you
of
what you need.
parental idea.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as is common, we see all the time, they will use populism to gain political favor. For instance, Joe Biden talking about how he's the working man's president. He's the union guy. He's here to fight for the American family.
Yeah, remember that? Was it
that's
Time magazine?
Populism.
Was it Time where he did the cover, the photo shoot where he's like in cowboy boots and one picture on the back of a pickup truck with the guitar?
This was before the election. Yes, he had the silliest, most populist Time photo shoot. It was hilarious. Sitting on the back of a red pickup truck with his cowboy boots and just wearing a denim tuxedo is beautiful. But yeah, so at one hand, when elites call each other populist, they're being pejorative. But at the same time, they all sort of present themselves as a man of the people or a woman of the people. And populism in regards to elites, such as Davos, is a very dangerous thing. It's seen as dangerous.
Right.
And indeed, if you look at the Wikipedia, Wikipedia, of course, lots of CIA editors over there. Lots of this. Another example, Wikipedia is supposed to be like the encyclopedia of the people, and indeed has been sort of taken over. Describes populism as an approach to politics which views the people as being opposed to the elite and is often used as a synonym of anti-establishment as an ideology. It transcends the typical divisions of left and right and has become more prevalent in the U.S. with the rise of disenfranchisement and apathy towards the establishment.
Sure.
So, it's a dirty word.
Mm-hmm. Well, such theories aside, I'm going to continue with the article here. Let's just toss that theory aside because not a very good defense of it. The idea that Davos is faintly toxic has gained ground. President Joe Biden, determined to present himself as fighting for ordinary working Americans, is unlikely to risk an appearance at Davos. Unlike Donald Trump, who enjoyed rubbing shoulders with assembled CEOs. Look at that little flipperoo he tried to pull there. Donald Trump is sort of the man who started the populist movement in earnest in America, but he's the one going to Davos and rubbing shoulders with the world CEOs, even centrists. Yeah. Well,
it's just funny because you can't talk about anything without describing how it relates to Donald Trump, because that's the most important fact about anything.
Yeah. Even centrist and conservative leaders in Europe may be cautious about coming. And then it mentions Emmanuel Macron and Rishi Sunak. They got stuff to deal with at home. It'd be a bad look if they came to Davos, especially with Rishi Sunak. Well, didn't he get in trouble for some the air private jet stuff? I mean, it's easy, low-hanging fruit stuff, but in any case, the article concludes
his parents are huge WEF.
Stanford.
at least the WEF types, they're very much into digital ID. They are well hooked in, kind of like Sam Bankman-Fried's parents, which we'll hear more about.
Yeah, well, it'll be mentioned later. The article concludes, those world leaders who are present might do well to take a funicular up to the Schalltops Hotel, which served as man's model for sanatorium in the Magic Mountain. The hotel's view is the best in Davos. It may offer a chance for quiet reflection on how to prevent war and natural disaster from once again engulfing the global economy.
Oh, yes, that's what we need.
Those elite just pondering how they will save humanity.
Yes, we need all of the world's elite ruling class to just have some quiet time to discuss how to solve all the world's problems.
This guy sounds like he's getting a paycheck directly from some of these World Economic Forum types.
Almost certainly is, yeah.
And, there's a couple other reports on it, which were fairly boring. The Bloomberg had this, what's worrying the global elite in Davos. And really the big takeaway here is that globalism is not, we heard a lot about deglobalization and people talking, globalism is dead after COVID, and especially the Ukraine war last year, changing up some of the supply chain routes and energy routes and things like that. But there's a quote here. I thought I had it highlighted, but apparently I did not. It basically was a quote that said that it's not deglobalization, it's more of a re-globalization, where the pipelines of the world are being restructured. Here it is, quote, we're not entering an era of deglobalization, but probably the re-regionalization of globalization. Alexander Stubb, a former prime minister of Finland, told Bloomberg Television in Davos, quote, it probably means that we're starting to see more protectionist activity. Activity.
Well, and that's the way they describe that is very interesting. The regionalization of globalization, which is kind of another way of referring to blockchain, like a decentralized network. Yeah. We're still a global network, but we're decentralized. Yeah. Each
part will have its own ability to govern and manage. Yeah, its own node. Right. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so there you go. And then, of course, we wouldn't have a complete view of everything going on if we're not holding water for Putin. Sputnik News, which is the Russian state-sponsored outlet, had the headline, what is the WEF meeting in Davos and what should be expected from it this year? And, they're a little bit more, I don't know, if you didn't tell me that this was Sputnik News and that it's Russian state media, I would say that this is just more of like a truther blog or something, because they mention names. They mention Ursula von der Leyen, the European commissioner.
Oh, they list them all.
Oh, they list Henry Kissinger, which is Christine Lagarde, Credit Suisse chairman Axel Lehman, who of course Credit Suisse was going through their thing. Larry Fink of BlackRock, Jamie Dimon of Chase, even Yo-Yo Ma, the cellist.
Yo-Yo Ma.
And their big thing is going to be, they're okay, let me just read this paragraph. They are just a small taste of the dozens of speakers at the 2023 Davos Forum, with conferences dedicated to a dizzying array of topics from globalization, macroeconomic trends, private equity, and global tax reform to philanthropy, sustainability, decarbonization, gender parity, and LGBTQI+ issues, to opportunities stemming from the global immigration crisis, the conflict in Ukraine, nuclear fusion, and artificial intelligence. Ukraine, energy, climate change, and technology seem to constitute the core issues of WEF 2023, with multiple events dedicated to each of these topics. It's like, whoa.
Kind of sounds like a Canary Cry conference if we put one on. Those are all the topics we'd be talking about.
And then this paragraph, I think, is the best one. A couple categories of guests won't be in attendance at this year's Davos Forum. One is Sam Bankman-Fried of officials from his FTX cryptocurrency Ponzi scheme. The WEF scrubbed all references to FTX as a partner, in quotes, as its Davos event, and Bankman-Fried, who spoke at Davos as recently as 2022, is unable to attend because he's in house arrest awaiting trial on fraud and money laundering charges. So
Burn.
I thought that was kind of a funny addition. And I guess the greater takeaway with this is, first off, Sam Bankman-Fried. which is always great to mention, and remind everybody that yes, the World Economic Forum did have a sort of a pact with or some kind of deal with a partnership with
His parents.
FTX. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, right. FTX.
FTX specifically, and of course, the mom is listed on the website there. So, in any case, the greater takeaway should be: why is Russian state media read like a truther blog or something? You know, that's just something to keep in mind. Just keep a. Indeed. They mentioned George Soros. That's always some low hanging fruit on stuff. So there you go. That's some Davos stuff. We'll probably hear reports and whatnot in the coming days. People that are there. There's a bunch of people, truthy people, down there reporting, and we'll probably hear something soon.
Day one, baby. It's early. We're keeping our ears to the ground. I can't wait. I have not seen any articles or anything yet about the psychedelic shamans, showing up at the World Economic Forum.
Things are back to normal now, so maybe they got shunned for this year. They're like, hey, we need
ecstatic dance classes,
Yeah.
But who knows? We'll see if it starts coming out. That'll be fun.
Yep. Okay.
All right. It's Monday, baby.
Oh, is it Monday?
Gary, what day is it? Monday. Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
Yep, it is Monday. We are back on the train. How you doing, Gons? How was your weekend?
It was all right. Got hit in the face by my son, so that's always good. I think my front tooth is a little bit loose. It's getting better.
What?
Yeah. He did a back head swing back. You don't know. I don't think cats do this, Basil. Like little children, sometimes they swing their head back full speed and then just hit you right in the face. And,
the old baby headbutt.
Yeah, the baby headbutt cut my lip a little bit.
Powerful.
Yeah, it's it's a thing. But tooth is still there. Everything's good. But you know what time it is. It's time for some truther Christian dad jokes.
Okay.
I got two quick ones for you today.
All right.
So the first one. I realized we live in a computer simulation when I went golfing for the first time and got a hole in one. It was a hard drive.
There it is. Very good.
Okay, one more.
Very good. Did you go golfing?
I have not. You have not. And
okay.
I'm I've just set myself up to prove or disprove that we live in a simulation. If I get a hole in one the first time, we live in a simulation, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the other one here. I asked my pastor for advice on starting a farm. He said 2 words to me. Buy bulls.
Buy bulls?
Mm-hmm.
That one did get over my head, Gons. I'm not exactly sure. Your pastor told you to buy bulls.
Mm-hmm.
I might need to consult the dad oracle to explain that one to me.
Yeah. People in chat get it. People in chat are like, Bibles.
I got it. I
gotcha.
Okay.
I gotcha. Hey, I'm on a roll right
hilarious.
now.
Yeah.
I'm getting you. Okay. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that. That's very nice. Maybe I'm just not old enough. It hasn't kicked in yet. My fatherly instincts have not fully kicked in.
Yeah. You'll get it one day.
Yeah.
You'll be in a jacuzzi. I just painted a picture of you in a jacuzzi, holding like a big mug with latte. Emus.
Yeah.
Emus picking, seeds off your back or something. I don't know what's going on, but you'll get it.
You've got such a beautiful mind, Gons. I'm so happy to be your partner in this media property. I don't got anything. What happened this weekend? Nothing happened this weekend.
That's good.
It's wet. It's been a wet weekend. It's cold. I did, as a little off the grid update for everybody. I did have to get my my propane tank refilled because it's been cloudy. The solar isn't working very well. It's an old solar system. I haven't put the new one in yet. Blah blah blah. And getting propane delivered when you run out is sort of the most traumatic experience I've ever had. I'm not going to name the company that is absolutely the worst. It's basically like the AT&T of propane delivery companies. If you need any, customer support or anything, you call the support line, and then they basically just abuse you for like 3 hours and gaslight you at the same time.
This is why you need do not pay AI services to do those calls for you.
That it would be very helpful.
Yeah. So the AI gets abused, not you.
Yeah, and it's a call center, so they don't really have any power or any ability to do anything. And I basically had to wait a whole week after completely running out of gas, which is considered an emergency. They're supposed to come out the next day and give you a call and all this stuff. That's basically what my weekend was. And it was, did a little bit of camping because I ran out of electricity. There's a lot of people. Look, there's been a lot of supportive listeners, but there's been a lot of listeners who kind of, I believe, have the wrong idea about what living off the grid is actually about. It is not necessarily a luxury experience. However, not only are you sort of living on the edge when it comes to use of different utilities that you're sort of responsible for, but you're sort of treated like a second-class citizen in a way. If you're off the grid, you're not as important as the on-the-grid folks, and you just got to get used to it. It's good training for when you get rounded up for a FEMA camp or something.
Sure.
Other than that, that's it. I feel like I had a robot story, but I forgot what it was. I'm so distracted. So. Yeah. Anywho, there you go. And with that, we should thank some executive producers.
Executive producers.
That's right. We're on the value for value model, folks. We take no corporate money whatsoever, and that's just to keep some integrity in what we do around here. If we were taking corporate money, then, we'd be on the corporate payroll, which hopefully would call into question everything we have to say. But luckily, we are not on the corporate payroll. We are entirely funded by listeners of the show, people who get value out of the show, put value back in because they understand that it's a paradigm shifting model that takes away the power from, corporations and whoever controls those corporations that are very good at sort of manipulating the situation to their benefit. But not here. And it's only possible when people who get value out put value back in. And you can do that with your time, your talent, or your treasure. But we got some people coming in at the executive level, which we are very grateful for. It goes a long way to keeping this show going. So let's thank them now, Gons. You ready?
Let's do it. Yep.
Okay. We have, as of now, we have one executive producer coming in, supporting the show, came in right before the show. We appreciate that. And that is executive producer Kevin M.
Kevin M. Now, is this an executive streak?
This is an executive streak.
There it is. 2 in a row, Kevin M.
That's right. Kevin M., a very prolific executive producer of the show, and we appreciate it very much. We got some more producers to thank later on, and we will do that. But for now, let's give Kevin M. a standing round of applause for his executive producership.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you very much, Kevin M.
Not too late to produce the show at any level. All you got to do is head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. And now it's time for the Flippy Update.
Flippy Update.
Do you want fries with that?
The Flippy Update, folks. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world. And now there's nothing we can do about it. Today's Flippy Update is coming from thedailymeal.com. The Daily Meal.
Oh, like
and the headline,
food.
food, MEAL, thedailymeal.com. Headline is, you can do dessert shots with a robot in Las Vegas.
Hey, I thought what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. The robot's breaking all kinds of human
dessert
rules.
Shots, baby. Dessert shots. Let's see what this is. Robots know how to party. The article reads, in the modern dessert game, it's go big or go home. Did you know this?
I don't know why that is so funny, but it's true. Have you seen the desserts people make nowadays on these TV shows? They're magnificent.
It's entertainment.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, well, and I think that's key here. That's key because you gotta if you're tuned in, if you're tuned into the sort of popular culture dessert stuff, it's competition. Mm-hmm. It's more than just a food. It's more than sweets. It's a competition. Yeah. It's an art form. It's it's more than just sweet treats.
It's a robot ritual now, I guess.
Go big or go home, Gons. Around the country, several eateries have pushed the limits of sweet treats to some truly ridiculous yet undeniably delicious places. Dun dun dun. And it just goes through some desserts that I'm not aware of. We got at Miss Cheesiest in Miami. You can eat the outrageously ooey gooey s'mores melt, which takes all the ingredients of classic campfire concoction and sandwiches them between two pieces of sourdough via the Food Network. I'm telling you, people, desserts are entertainment. That's the whole point here. Atlanta's Cheesecaked offers the Shakin' the Cookie Jar milkshake, an ice cream that treats with a towering topper made of different desserts for a fake potted plant filled with a 10-layer cheesecake that's served alongside an artificial watering can of black rose milk tea. Head to New York City's Spot Dessert Bar.
Okay. Where's the Flippy? What's
Head on over, Gons, and get your sweet tooth filled. These desserts are certainly bold, it's possible that they aren't as audacious as another audacious, more futuristic one. In Las Vegas, you can have your sweets served by a cookie cyborg. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Beep, bop, boop. Come get your cookies. Celebrity baker. I love it. Again, dessert is entertainment. And if you're
celebrity baker,
you're a baker, a celebrity baker. Dominique Ansel is best known as the inventor of the cronut, a fluffy, flaky mashup.
Cronut, yeah.
Yes, it's a mashup of a croissant and a donut. Have you had a cronut, Guns? They're quite popular.
No, I remember the popularity boom, but I did not indulge. I like to keep my croissants and donuts. I really don't like this hybridization, this
purity
modern
culture.
Nephilim.
It's a Nephilim, a baked
Nephilim
Nephilim.
bakery. It's just not my thing.
However, he is also the inventor of the cookie shot,
what's that?
One of the most mind-blowing food trends of 2014.
2014.
I love this. 2014 was the cookie shot, mind-blowing food trend, a fresh take on a classic pairing. Ansel Bakery's cookie shot features a chocolate chip cookie constructed shot glass that is filled with a glug of cold milk. Okay, so it's just a cookie in the shape of a glass, and you put milk in the glass. Why bother with a regular glass?
It seems like you would spill it, if you're eating the cup, or you're supposed to drink it first. Anyway, continue.
I think you do both. Vanity Fair, Gons. Vanity Fair described the cookie shot as otherworldly in their goodness.
Satanist.
Citing their affinity for the dessert's sweet milk and chewy cookie. Recently, Ansel brought the cookie shot to an entirely new level by introducing to the world the cookie shot vending machine, a fully automated dispenser of the famous dessert. Automated is not a word. Automated, fully automated dispenser of the famous dessert via Forbes. More name dropping.
I know, a lot of name drops on this article.
Vanity Fair, Food Network, Forbes, The Guardian. Open 24/7 at Dominique Ansel Las Vegas and Caesar's Palace. This innovative sweet treat contraption can deal out a whopping 75 cookie shots in an hour. 75 in an hour, guys. Forbes quotes Dominique Ansell's description of the cookie shot robot's operating procedure. Are you ready for the operating procedure?
Yes.
He says, quote, you'll first scan a QR code and select how many cookie shots you'd like. Check out and watch as the robot selects your cookie shot and fills it up with cold infused vanilla milk. He also tells us that the machine's milk infused with Madagascan vanilla, which the Spice House explains has a more intense flavor profile than other types of vanilla. Cool. So it is a robot arm. It is Flippy proper here. And he picks up this little shot glass made out of cookie and then fills it with milk. It's truly awe-inspiring, apparently. KTLA News reporter Rich DeMuro visited the cookie shot vending machine. Look, folks, it should be me.
Yeah, I know. Why aren't you there?
I should be the one getting paid to travel to all these Flippy arms and report on the cookie shop vending machine. Corporate money. See, that's what corporate money could get me, Gons. Old Rich DeMuro, who probably doesn't even care about the robot arms. He has no idea what the powers that he's dealing with, but he's getting paid by KTLA. What is that, a Fox station? What's KTLA? I think it's Fox station, isn't it?
KTLA is, I think,
ABC. I think it's an ABC. I don't know. You figure it out.
No, it's not ABC.
Visited the cookie shot vending machine and gave the dessert glowing reviews. He assured audiences that the shot was alcohol-free while complimenting its milk-infused base, which he compared to the bottom of an ice cream cone. Okay. The cookie shot vending machine has automated every step of the dessert delivery process. Its robot arm pours you a shot just as capably as your local bartender. Oh, no. Watch out, local bartenders, because Flippy is coming for you. Just make sure that you're drinking your milk responsibly. Thank you very much, the Daily Meal. So a couple of things here. First of all, surrounding this Flippy arm with the holy smokes.
Whoa. Oh, no. Can't blow your cover.
Oh, no. Got to see my foot there for a second. Sorry, folks. My camera just fell. What was I going to say? So surrounding this Flippy arm with the air of celebrity, okay? The whole thing is about celebrity. Desserts are entertainment, the celebrity chef, the dropping the names of entertainment outlet after entertainment outlet, making its way into the minds and hearts of people. It's connecting to the sort of cultural importance. And then, of course, it's a cookie shot, which is basically milk and cookies. And who gives you milk and cookies? Your mom.
Santa.
Your mom.
Oh, no, you're supposed to give it to Santa.
No,
Sorry,
you're right. You give it to Santa. You
Yeah.
got the Santa connection, the emotional connection.
Yeah.
You got sort of the grandma connection with the milk and cookies. And then, it's in Las Vegas. I don't know what that means. Maybe once you lose all your money and you're sad, it's to keep you from jumping out of the window of your hotel room. They give you some milk and cookies.
Yeah.
It's just another example, wonderful example of the social engineering genius of getting robotics, not just into the bellies, not just into the lives, but into the hearts of people all around the world. And of course, Las Vegas, that's a global audience. Mm-hmm. It's not just Americans, but a very popular, world famous destination. So, it's just a matter of time. First, they're making your cookie shots, taking the plate. They're replacing your grandma and also replacing your kids. Because why do you need your kids to leave Santa cookies and milk if you could get a robot to do it? I'm telling you, I'm onto something.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to start a special Patreon called Basil Visits Robots. And if you'd like to support my travels to check out these robot arms, you can figure that out there.
Yeah. Sounds fantastic. All right. Anything else on the robot there?
Nope. That's your Flippy update for the day, folks. Watch out. Thank your mom. Thank your grandma. Get a cookie made by a human.
Yeah.
My generation is, hopefully with the advances in science, the first generation to live forever, or the last generation that's going to die.
All right, the dailymail.co.uk had a story here that I think is right up our alley here. And the headline is, First Brain Implant to Treat Depression is Revealed, in all caps.
Revealed.
Revealed. Penny-sized digital pill that sits under the skin and releases tiny electrical pulses starts human trials. Ooh. Yeah. While Elon Musk's Neuralink expects to begin human trials in 6 months, a neurotech company unveiled a device that treats depression and is now in the skull of the first patient. Inner Cosmos's digital pill includes 2 parts, an electrode that sits under the skin of the scalp and the prescription pod that snaps onto the user's hair to power the device. The implant sends tiny electrical pulses to the brain region affected by depression, the left dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, once daily for 15 minutes. The external device does not need to be on the head when treatment is not being administered. The trial patient from St. Louis, Missouri, is scheduled to test Inner Cosmos innovation for 1 year, and the company has another human trial set to start next month. And they got a picture here. It's a little circular device. Looks kind of like a coin, but, kind of got the plastic, microchip thing there. Implants to treat all ailments of the brain are making waves in the industry as several companies are racing to get theirs to market first. Musk's Neuralink recently conducted a product demonstration that showed a chip in a monkey's brain. We know about that. Synchron began human trials of its brain implant in July. I think we covered that too. The firm's Stentrode brain implant, about the size of a paperclip, will be implanted in 6 New York and Pittsburgh patients with severe paralysis. Stentrode will let patients, this is another company, Stentrode will let patients control digital devices just by thinking and giving them the ability to perform daily tasks, including texting, emailing, and shopping online. Research facilities are also developing brain chips. Southmead Hospital in Bristol is believed to be the first in the world to implant a device to reverse symptoms of Parkinson's. However, Inner Cosmos digital pill is the smallest and least invasive technology to date. The implant is about the size of a penny, and the company likens the external pod to charging the Apple Watch. See, the Apple Watch. The surgery for the implant takes 30 minutes in an outpatient facility. Inner Cosmos was founded by entrepreneur Marin Gribbets, who was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder as a child. Of course. Quote, our mission is to create a world that restores humanity's cognitive power by rebalancing the human mind. This guy sounds like a villain from a Marvel comic. I want to restore humanity's cognitive power. How are you going to do that? We're going to rebalance the human mind. And then the quote continues here. It doesn't get any better. Quote, the world is in a state of severe disorder, leading to a disordered cognition. The effects are being felt by millions, leading to surging levels of depression. We believe our approach can allay the lives of those suffering from depression and eventually scale to other cognitive disorders, end quote. The goal of Inner Cosmos, I guess the quote continues, the goal of Inner Cosmos is to move away from prescription drugs and towards a more effective treatment. Interesting. In light of the downfall of the big pharma prescription drug industry, perhaps, maybe this is the Trojan horse, Quote, depression and attention and anxiety, which we treat. Just to underscore this point, there's 140 million Americans every year that use attention for depression drugs. That's more users than have iPhones, Gribbett said in a 2022 presentation. And they got pictures of this little device, and it honestly looks kind of like an AirPod, or those AirPods, those Bluetooth earpieces. It's got a little case. It's got the 2 little pieces that go in there, and then they just stick it onto your head there after the implant. Inner Cosmos digital pill is powered by a smartphone app, which also displays mood and depression graphs as can be shared with a physician. Gribbett said this is the first time doctors will have access to this type of data. Quote, saving the healthcare industry billions for misdiagnosis of severe suicidal depression, he said. Quote, the implant is 10 times smaller than anything else you've heard of globally on the brain chips, BCI, brain computer interface market. and we're really excited, said Gribbets. It took us 6 years to build this thing. And that's the end of the article. So yeah, it took 6 years. It's the smallest one. It's getting one of the first trials. It's going to treat your depression, Basil. Don't worry. It's not about going outside or making actual human relationships or things like that. No, just get your anti-depression brain chip and you're good to go. But you might be asking, yeah.
Well, it's interesting how, the thing that really pinged me or rang my bell with this is was the sort of competition going on between technology and psychedelics on this this mental health front. Yeah. Because we've had a couple articles. They haven't quite made it to the show, but it won't surprise anybody to hear more about psychedelics being the cure for all sorts of mental illness, depression, blah blah blah. But at the same time, there will be, hey, you can also get your brain implant that will, every time you're feeling sad, you'll get a little zap of electricity, and that's what's going to fix you, folks. None of this wild fungus, psilocybin, hippie nonsense. You need your brain chip. And both technology and psychedelics are sort of threatening, whether either promising or threatening, to sort of disrupt the health industry altogether.
Yeah, the pharmaceutical,
I think it's no surprise.
Psychiatric.
Right? It's no surprise to anybody that to hear that the pharma industry is not quite delivering on all of its promises to make the perfect life available for everybody. And so that's giving the opportunity for tech and the psychedelic movement. It's almost like a space race for your inner cosmos, right, as this company refers to itself, which is also very interesting.
Yeah, and you might be wondering, there might be some issues, some adverse effects, a phrase that seems to be very popular amongst people having conversations these days. But in that context, Eureka Alert had this article. Clinical trial results indicate low rate of adverse events associated with implanted brain-computer interfaces. So we're not talking about adverse events of the jabby jab. We're talking about it with the brain-computer interface. So
yes,
interesting.
Yeah, I think that claim, low rate of adverse events, it's almost like a poisonous phrase. Yeah, we've been so inundated with that phrase, it almost has lost all meaning.
Yeah. It says here, the BrainGate clinical trial is run by a collaborative consortium of investigators at multiple institutions, including Massachusetts General Hospital, who are working to develop BCIs, that's brain-computer interfaces, for people affected by paralysis caused by neurologic disease or injury. This new report, which is published in Neurology by the MGH-led team, examined data from 14 adults with quadriparesis. Am I saying that right? I don't know. Quadriparesis? Weakness in all four limbs.
Paralysis, right?
Not paralysis, paralysis, yeah.
Oh, weakness. Yeah,
in all four limbs from spinal cord injury, brainstem stroke, or ALS, who were enrolled in the BrainGate trial from 2004 to 2021 through 7 clinical sites in the United States. So it seems like it looked at all the available data, because I don't know how many, there hasn't been that much brain research that's been really cutting edge to, so it looks like they scraped all the data that they could. And then it talks about a little bit of the details. The most common device-related adverse event was skin irritation around the portion of the device that connected the implanted sensor to the external computer system. Importantly, they report that there were no safety events that required removal of the device, no infections of the brain or nervous system, and no adverse events resulting in permanently increased disability related to the investigational device. Quote, this interim report demonstrates that the investigational BrainGate neural interface system, which is still ongoing clinical trials, thus far has a safety profile comparable to that of many approved implanted neurologic devices, such as deep brain stimulators and responsive neurostimulators, said lead author David Rubin, MD, PhD, a physician investigator in the Center for Neurotechnology and Neurorecovery in the Department of Neurology at MGH and an instructor at Harvard, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So this guy's real deal. So anyway, it's interesting, now that we've gone through the whole pandemic and the general public has a little bit more of an awareness of how the system operates. It'll be interesting to see how they're able to roll this thing out. And hey, depression is a great way to kick it off, like, hey, we're treating people. This is for people that are depressed. Okay. You want them taking drugs, or do you want them under our guiding hand of electrical pulses to certain parts of the brain?
Yeah, and I think it made the point in the article, but the benefit, or one of the perceived benefits, or the advertised benefits of the actual unit, the chip, is the feedback, the data feedback that you can get from it.
Yeah, and the data to feed the doctors. Doctors will have a whole new set of data they've never had before. Yeah,
right. Which they're really having to deal with some very serious uphill battles with a lot of the language with this, because one of the biggest concerns that people have, at least our type of people, is with putting brain chips in, is exactly that the stream of data that you are feeding to, in this case they say quote unquote doctors, but it's a for-profit company. Yeah. You're setting your brain data to a for-profit company. It's just not a great look. It's going to be difficult, but unfortunately not going to be difficult enough. There are people out there who still don't quite care about the idea, just the concept of companies having access to your brain data.
Yeah, not a good sign, but there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. What else do we got here? Sorry, I've been doing some tech support over here.
Sure. More great reset stuff, more build back better stuff here.
Oh, yeah.
Build back better, blah, blah, blah. Build back better. We will build Babylon better. This time, a new world order.
Yes, this I found very interesting. This is coming from Bloomberg.com, and the headline is, "There has never been a better time for billionaire Schadenfreude." Ooh, billionaire Schadenfreude. And you can't quite argue with them. I mean, it makes total sense. Billionaire Schadenfreude does sound pretty nice. Let me give you just some of the intro details here. In late May, Elon Musk took a break. Oh, by the way, at the top of this, they've upgraded from just having a headline image to a headline GIF. Mm-hmm. They have a cute little GIF here, which is the heads of Mark Zuckerberg, Trump, Elon Musk, and who's that supposed to be? Is that supposed to be Sam Bankman-Fried?
I think it's Sam Bankman-Fried. That hair is the giveaway. Yeah.
Yeah. And their heads are made of wax, and they're on candlestick holders, and they all have a burning wick at the top of them.
And it's
like it's kind of got like a weird voodoo.
I was going to say voodoo, yeah, like a ritual voodoo type of thing going on. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so you've got the heads of billionaires, and they are lit like candles, and the wax is like dripping off in a GIF. It's a little disturbing, but kind of funny at the same time. In late May, Elon Musk took a break from trying to get out of his purchase of Twitter to offer his views on the nation's economic health. He predicted that the U.S. was careening towards a recession. No worries for him, though. Quote, "This is actually a good thing," he tweeted. Quote, "It has been raining money on fools for too long. Some bankruptcies need to happen." So first of all, just to kind of understand the writing here, the "no worries for him, though," is trying to give the impression that Elon was sort of advocating for regular people to experience bankruptcies or whatever, when in fact, I mean, Elon was talking about like billionaires. He did kind of want billionaires to have to suffer, or at least that's what he was saying to continue his sort of populist campaign. But anyways, Bloomberg's not presenting it that way. Musk is somewhat infamously frequently off target when it comes to predictions, as anyone waiting for his years-late electric pickup truck or a ride in one of his non-existent 600 miles per hour trains knows well. He's also missed on topics such as epidemiology. In March 2020, Musk declared that COVID cases were heading close to zero. Personal finance, he embraced cryptocurrencies in 2021, just before they crashed, and politics. He predicted a massive red wave for the midterm elections ahead of an historic overperformance by Democrats. Again, all things that they were not Elon's predictions. That's what everybody was saying. And he was just he was also just saying it. And again, I think may have just been a reflection of his populist campaign to become whatever he is now. But again, is Bloomberg. They don't
to that point, by the way, let me just real quickly interject something, because we are kind of talking about Elon Musk here, and something happened over the weekend that I thought was interesting. There was some tweets that Elon's pretty active on Twitter now. He owns it.
You don't say.
And there were some people talking about ESG, made threads about ESG and stuff like that. And in one of the responses, Elon said that the S of ESG stands for satanic. And I was like, wait a minute. That's something I said back, and I showed my receipts. It was 2021, I think July or something of 2021 that that I said.
Yes, it was a real groaner too. I remember it specifically.
Yeah, you do. Okay, good. It was a groaner. I mean, great.
You mean you're talking about on the show? You said it, or did you tweet it?
Both.
Also,
both. I think both. I was saying it on the show, and I was tweeting about it. So yeah. So again, more evidence. I'm pretty sure Elon at least has someone reporting. He's just scraping algos from people that are censored, and then using
he
it
admits
in his
it too. He admits Twitter is sort of a hive mind, and surely he is using the data from the hive mind to sort of craft his campaign to get the people, whoever he wants to like him, to like him.
Right.
Moving forward. But Musk's forecasts for the economy turned out to be pretty solid. Okay, Bloomberg. Listen to this. While there's no recession, an economic slowdown has indeed exposed a number of entrepreneurs who, for the past decade, took advantage of low interest rates, bubbles in tech and finance, and self-reinforcing media environment to convince themselves of their own genius and then to profit from their hucksterism.
Wow. Okay. Bloomberg. Well, those 4 words right there just discredited whoever's right. While there's no recession.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, then they talk about Mark Zuckerberg. They make fun of his avatar. But
Musk's net worth fell 133 billion.
Yes, of course. Now it says here, now tech stocks have nosedived. The metaverse is floundering. Crypto fortunes are crumbling, and criminal investigations are pending. Call it the Great Comeuppance, a sudden and historic opportunity for billionaire Schadenfreude. The period began in late 2021 and has been defined by persistent inflation, rising interest rates, and a return to certain pre-COVID norms. Among them, the belief that made-up currencies might be worthless, and that there's more to life than interacting as a digital floating torso.
Hold on. I know when they're talking about made-up currencies, they're talking about cryptocurrencies. What is the U.S. dollar?
Yeah, exactly. All currencies are made up. Yeah. That's right. The problem with Musk's prediction was his failure to realize that these economic shifts had the potential to make him look like a fool too. Musk had, in case you weren't paying attention, a very bad 2020 too. And he talks about how he lost a bunch of his stuff. Tesla price is down 70%. Musk wasn't the only overreaching titan taking down a few pegs. Mark Zuckerberg saw his net worth drop by 64%, or 80 billion last year itself, an historic figure that's substantially more than what had been regarded as the previous record wealth lost. Masayoshi's Son, $70 billion drop in 2000. Sun had a pretty terrible year too, if not a record-setting one. Zuckerberg's fall, like Musk's, involved a combination of macroeconomic blah, 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 blah. So celebrating the loss of Elon, celebrating the losses of Mark Zuckerberg there. They go into Zhangpeng Zhao, chief executive officer of Binance. They talk about a bunch of the crypto losses.
There's Mashinsky's name. Oh, great.
That's right. You got Alex Mashinsky. You've got Sam Bankman-Fried. Everybody's in here. Everybody's on the list. Okay.
Yeah.
Then it goes into the current federal funds rate. It goes into a bunch of numbers. But then it goes into this. The Great Comeuppance has largely, but not exclusively, been a financial phenomenon. The same forces that humbled Musk and his peers have helped erode the cultural and moral authority of the venture capitalists who financed their success. Mark Andreessen, the innovator behind Netscape and co-founder of the venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz, I think they're the biggest venture capitalist firm, went all in on crypto several years ago, investing in companies that have seen the value of their tokens collapse or that have some under investigation by U.S. authorities. Andreessen, once admired as one of the industry's futurists, is now the industry's get-off-my-lawn guy, raging constantly on social media about all things woke. Sequoia Capital, another leading VC, has become infamous for giving $150 million to Bankman-Fried, even though he was playing video games during his pitch. And Chamath Palihapitiya, once seen as the Valley's social conscience, is now better known for promoting a collection of controversial and lightly regulated public offerings called SPACs. He's lost a bunch of money on SPACs. The Great Comeuppance also came for American politics. Bankman-Fried, who as a major donor has been charged with campaign finance violations, in addition to wire fraud and money laundering, which threatens to destabilize candidates and interest groups.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot known about, Sam Bankman-Fried's donations to the Democratic Party. He also made some to the Republican Party. Some politicians are giving the money back. Others aren't. It's an ongoing thing. Let's see. In addition to wire fraud and money laundering, which threatens to destabilize candidates and interest groups that benefited from his largesse. Peter Thiel, who rode high during a frothy investment climate for tech stocks, watched his protege, Blake Masters, lost a Senate election and became a punchline for the failures of candidates who'd aligned themselves with former President Donald Trump. Got to get Trump in there. Early polls of the 2024 Republican presidential primary talks about Trump. Doesn't matter. It's possible, of course, that the current sense of populist vindication, there's that word again, will prove fleeting. Musk is still worth more than $130 billion and may eventually figure out how to extricate himself from Twitter and stabilize Tesla. Trump looks like he's fighting for relevance today, but his $99 crypto trading cards, known as NFTs, and featuring the former president posing as a hunky cowboy, a hunky astronaut, and a hunky superhero, among other hunky characters, shot up in value. Even as they were mocked by late night comedians. Have you seen the value of Trump's NFTs?
I haven't seen them recently, but I did see them initially pop off. They tripled or something in price in the first few days. So,
that's great. Yeah. Good for him. There's also the likelihood that the Great Comeuppance could at some point widen its reach. Most of us haven't trolled our way into the purchase of a flailing social media company or pivoted a $1 trillion company into the metaverse, but many of us did waste too much time on social media, perhaps taking some unnecessary financial risks along the way by gambling on sports or stocks or real estate. For now, the Great Comeuppance may feel satisfying, but most of us owe at least some moral debt to reality. At some point, reality will collect. That's the end of the article.
Interesting.
And you may be thinking there, it seems strangely empty. It seems like sort of a substanceless mist of an article.
Yeah.
But I think when you combine the timing of this article with the Davos, the meeting in Davos going on right now, starting off, where they too are sort of talking about populism. And these are the very people, the types of people, maybe not the exact people, but the types of people that we all enjoy, the sort of billionaire Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
or we would think that we would enjoy their billionaire schadenfreude. But notice how you don't hear about Mark Zuckerberg at Davos. You don't hear about Elon Musk at Davos. You don't hear about Trump. Well, I guess we kind of heard of Trump at Davos. But Trump barely even counts as a billionaire. It's still kind of up in the...
Plus, he
still
went
kind
there,
of a question whether he ever has actually been a billionaire either.
Yeah, plus he went there as sort of a wrecking ball. He wasn't there to agree with everybody. He was there to call people out, right? So
yeah, well, depends who you ask.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
So it is this interesting piece of social engineering where right as Davos, the WEF, and the Great Reset are taking place as we speak, and we've been tracking sort of collection of coined terms, the Great Reset, the Great Reshuffle, the Great Rethink, all of these terms that have come out over the past couple of years. And this year, on the day Davos starts, we've got the Great Comeuppance, talking about what's the word? Populism, sort of as a drug, almost as if it's a opioid, giving you sort of a fleeting moment of pleasure,
right?
Watching the billionaires, be in pain, when at the same time you've got all the billionaires, the ones that matter, not the ones out front, not the puppet billionaires, not the entertainment billionaires, the ones that are sort of part of the theater, but the behind the scenes, the true elite billionaires are all joining together, talking about, how getting some quiet time, some contemplation, and how to change the world. It seems, though, that Bloomberg is here, kind of being like, well, we hope you enjoyed your medicine there, your great comeuppance, your couple hours of opioid haze, because reality's coming. You owe a debt to reality, and reality will collect. It's very ominous, in my opinion.
Yeah, sorry, addressing children.
No,
but I heard your rant. It's good.
Yeah,
good rant.
I just think it's barely a rant. I think it's almost a taunt. It's sort of preparing us to
they're
come in contact.
You're ranting. I'm not saying.
I think, I hear you. I'm thinking that it doesn't bode well. I think Davos is going to have some very interesting. We love playing the clips, whether it's on Twitter or here on the show, playing the clips of like the egregious things that they say at Davos.
Yeah.
They were literally like, yeah, the people don't trust us. We are like,
why do they not trust us?
Why don't they trust us? We barely trust each other.
It's the misinformation causing hate online.
Exactly. So I think especially when it comes to like the Elon stuff and all of these public billionaires, this billionaire schadenfreude, the Great Comeuppance, it almost feels as if it is a part of the play. It's an act written into the theater that is the whole Great Reset process. And, I think it's good for all of us to kind of keep that in mind, because they are literally threatening us right now. Oh, you might feel good about these billionaires that we've showed you falling from grace, but watch out. Reality is coming for you.
Reality is going to collect. Okay. Speaking of reality.
Artificial intelligence.
We have a story about AI here. But are we doing it in some kind of different form, Basil?
Only if it works. I don't know. We talked about doing, you got your guitar out. You haven't. Yeah. I noticed you haven't played your guitar. No, I haven't played my guitar. You're attached. I don't know. Gons, so much of this show, I mean, we always have an outline for the show, but so much of the show just happens sort of naturally. Sometimes it can be messy. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes things don't work. In fact, usually when we're planning on doing something, it's so awkward and so horrible that it just doesn't work. But last episode we did play around, with some extemporaneous things. Now, this article is coming from finance.yahoo.com, and the headline of it is 90% of online content, 90% of online content could be generated by AI by 2025.
Ooh, that's very soon. We're in 2023. Ooh.
So we've touched on this topic before about how quickly AI is working.
Yeah.
Or evolving, innovating. But by 2025, 90% of information on the internet could be generated by AI. It's sort of the most dystopic kind of version of all of this. And a lot of this article is not surprising, but thought we should probably keep up with it.
Yeah.
But because it's something we've already talked about, we thought maybe we should just take a couple minutes and get our wiggles out here. Do you want to?
Which robot are you going to go with? Are you doing?
Oh, you're talking about So, folks, hold on. This will take me a second to kind of transfer over. So part of the fun is, folks, that we discovered with my whatever it's called, my soundboard, that I can do fun things like this. I gotta change one thing. Let me go
Hopefully
like this.
It cuts through the sound gate and people can hear it. Yeah. Man, something is out of tune and I don't like it. Hold on. Are we? This is great radio. You're completely muted. I cannot hear you right now, Basil.
Oh no, it just completely stopped working out of nowhere.
No.
Oh no. That's so mean. All
right, well then...
can you hear this? Hold on a second.
Stop
I
for 5 seconds.
You can hear that.
Yeah.
Well, that makes no sense. This is just mean then. Well,
we
maybe
should
we're not supposed to do anything.
Well, maybe we're supposed to do the jazzy version because we didn't do any vocal tricks on that one.
Check.
No, it's cutting out. I don't know what's up with your thing.
No.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I don't like it. You know what? Let's just do it regular. Let's see what we feel. We've already spent way too much time worrying about this.
Okay.
I can't even get over to it. There we go. 90% of online content could be generated by AI by 2025, experts say. I'll let you decide if you want to lay something down for this.
Well, you just start reading and then I'll creep in.
Generative AI, like OpenAI's ChatGPT, could completely revamp how digital content is developed, said Nina Sheck, advisor, speaker, and AI thought leader, told Yahoo Finance Live. Quote, I think we might reach 90% of online content generated by AI by 2025. So this technology is exponential, she said. I believe the majority of digital content is gonna start being produced by AI. You see, ChatGPT, but there are a whole plethora of other platforms and applications that are coming up. Oh yeah. Now I will say, Gons, that is the most interesting part of the art. They talk about ChatGPT and AI. Now they've only really been coming to the fore in the last 24 to 6 months, added Schick, and that makes no sense to me. 24 to 6 months. That's reverse numerological. But the generative AI space is set to get far more competitive the next year. They talk about the threats to Alphabet, the threats to Microsoft, and the threats to Apple. Now they're all getting in on the game. At the end, quote, pace acceleration is so incredible that these tools, which are shocking and awing us at the beginning of 2023, shock and awe, baby, are going to seem quite quaint by the end of the year. By the end of the year, because the capabilities are just going to increase so powerfully.
Dissonance. Scary.
Discordian dissonance.
Scary end to 2023.
So they're saying everything that we've seen up through 2023, especially with ChatGPT, which we have not checked in with ChatGPT since last episode, when the website was overrun. Let's check it now. But it's saying by the end of this year, the change might happen. So when we start making predictions with AI, we're going to have to start putting a much sooner design on it.
Yeah.
We might get in trouble if we go anything further than a whole year deadline, guys.
Well, that's why we were trying to, figure out a more, creative approach. Yeah, the imperfections.
It's the imperfection, because soon you're going to have AI making podcasts, and if they do a musical number, it's actually going to be good. So, as we've talked about in the past, it's the badness of human creativity that's going to be the real draw, guys. And I think we might have a chance to flourish. Signing into ChatGPT. We should thank some producers now.
Okay. Hold on, let me put my guitar. That's the one problem with the guitar thing.
You need it to show off.
It's the transition into the next part of the thing here. So, all right.
Okay.
Here we go.
I'm going to ask GPT while you transition into this next thing. I'm going to ask ChatGPT how humans can thrive when AI is taking over content creation.
Canary Cry.party. Go there. How come I can't hear it? I don't know. What's going on?
Why does it sound so weird?
There's no sound. What has happened? Can you hear it?
Yeah, I hear it, but it sounds like it's coming.
Okay, hold on. Something's wrong because I can't hear it now.
Box or something.
Maybe my guitar thing messed up my.
See, folks, this is good. This is why you want human content, is for the mistakes, the messiness.
Oh no, what happened? Okay, hold on one second. Let me see if this is Oh, I know what happened. Hold on one second here. All right, this should fix it. There we go. CanaryCry.party, go there. Or be not cool. There you will find a tree of links to everything from how to listen to the show, watch the show, how to produce the show, and how to connect with us and the community.
Welcome to Canary Cry Party. It's the place you wanna be. So say, welcome to Canary Cry. Gameplay, Canary Cry.party.
Oh, that's fun. I like that. Some people complain about how the jingles are too repetitive, but now it can be, new every time. I did just ask ChatGPT. Well, first of all, go to canarycry.party. All sorts of resources for you there. Join the text message alert system, the newsletter. Get connected with the community, and learn how to produce the show. All sorts of good stuff. I just asked ChatGPT, suggest how human content creators can survive in a world where AI takes over 90% of online content creation. ChatGPT says human content creators can survive in a world where AI takes over a significant portion of online content creation by focusing on creating high-quality, unique, and engaging content that cannot be easily replicated by AI. Thank you very much. All you got to do is do better than the robot. They can also focus on building personal relationships with their audience and creating a sense of community around the content. Well, we certainly have tried to do our best to do that. Additionally, they can develop niche expertise or specialize in areas that are not easily replicated by you. Okay.
You know what this sounds like to me?
We used to be niche, Gons. We used to be niche.
No,
we are not niche anymore.
No, I think this is ChatGPT giving us a list of its weaknesses so that it can make sure to scrape the data when that information or those types of data become available.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It does continue. Talk about niche expertise or specialize in areas that are not easily replicated by AI, such as creative writing, art, or live performance. Live performance. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Furthermore, they can explore new and emerging platforms, technologies to reach the audience and stay ahead of the curve. They should also continually learn and adapt to new technologies and trends to stay relevant in the industry.
There you go.
Take that, robots.
Take that, ChatGPT.
Take that, robots.
What are we doing?
All right. Well, with that, we will thank our community because that is the one thing keeping us alive, Gons. Let's thank some producers.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
That's right. We're going to take a quick break and thank some producers, folks, because it's the producers that keep this show going. No corporate money whatsoever. No advertisements, no affiliate codes, no platform partnerships. We are entirely funded and produced by listeners of the show. And on one hand, it is voluntary. You're not required to. The show will continue to be free no matter what. We'll continue to do our work as long as the needs are being met somehow. But I will tell you this. In the world where AI is going to be creating 90% of the content in a year, and how online community being part of a larger whole that is geared towards a mission and a sort of, an ideology that means something to you, participation will become mandatory in a way.
Yeah.
Not by us. We're not going to enforce participation, but in an increasingly digital life, that as life becomes more increasingly digital, it becomes increasingly separated with important connections with other human beings. And what's the best way to connect with other human beings? Is to join with them in a mission. And that's what our producers are really doing. They're joining with us. We couldn't do it without them. They do it in all sorts of ways, their time, their talent, or their treasure. So consider that. And if there's not a way that you've heard us talk about how maybe you could become part of the team, feel free to suggest something. I would say the majority of our most prolific producers who help with their time or their talent, they made it up. We didn't figure out something we needed and then went out and tried to find somebody. They had an idea, they had inspiration, and they felt the leading by the Holy Spirit to get involved. And that's how most of our back-end producers get involved. So just consider that. You can always email us at canarycryradio@gmail.com. But producing with your treasure is also very important. Did you have something?
No, continue.
Yeah. And so we're going to thank our producers. We thanked our executive producers, Kevin M., at the top of the show. Yep. Thank you very much, Kevin M. But we got a few more to thank now. And we're going to start by thanking Sir Moore of Nine of the Burning Chariots. Comes in with $11.11.
Okay, hold on.
And
my system is doing that messed up thing again.
Timing is off, isn't it? Yeah, okay. No, what's going on?
Something's wrong. Hold on. You continue. I'm gonna fix this real quick.
I'm trying to continue. I will try to do that. And Sir Moore of Night of the Burning Chariots is on a 186 episodes streak. Thank you very much, Sir Moore of Night of the Burning Chariots. He's on a streak. Bow, 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 bow. See, we can do acapella jingles. No robot could make up acapella jingles. 11:11. Oh, boom, boom, boom. Thank you, Sir Moore. We go. Next up, we've got Sir LX Protocol V2, Night of the Berean Protocol, comes in with a pocket full of sevens plus fees, and he's on a 131 episode streak.
Yeah! Quicker! Oh, yeah!
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Extraordinarily short list today, Gons. I am going back in to do a refresh to see if anybody's coming in. But, the proliferation of the robots has made it so PayPal and other platforms have increased their I am not a robot security challenge. It's getting harder and harder, folks. This is the never-ending war between the weapon makers and the armor makers. Next up we have Johnny B. Johnny B, who's in the chat here. Thank you very much, Johnny B.
Thank you, Johnny B.
Johnny B comes in for $10.06, and he's got a note that says, I call upon the producers to pray for Cindy Patton. Okay, you got...
Producers, assemble!
There we go. And my sweetheart hero chick in the chat, who have been feeling ill lately, but wish them a speedy recovery. Thank you, Buff Basil and Ido Gons. Ido. What is that? Do you know what does that mean?
I don't know.
Am I seeing that right? I am. Ido. Okay. Thank you very much, Johnny B. And we are calling upon the producers. Producers are people out there who are praying for the show. They got lists going. They're on their knees. They are taking their rightful places. Intercessors for the show and the producers of the show, and we are very grateful for them. So we're putting Cindy P. and Hero Chick on the list, feeling ill. So we certainly pray for health and strength and a quick recovery, because that's no fun, especially today where, you walk out into public, you got the sniffles, and boom, you're getting the evil eye from the waiter.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Johnny B.
Thank you, Johnny B.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I think that might be the conclusion of our producers who came in above $7.77, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. 3. The number is 3. So thank you very much. Thank God for you, and thank God for the executive producer of today. We do have a few people who came in under the 777 mark. We're also very grateful for them, and we'll thank them real quick now. Starting with Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Pandas. He's on a 93 episode streak.
Thank you, Sir Darren.
We got Dame Gale, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's, 217 episode streak.
Thank you, Dame Gale.
We got Runk Smash, who's on a 3 episode streak, means he's heating up.
He's heating up!
Thank you, Runk Smash.
We got Sir Casey Shield Knight, 253 episodes in a row. Very impressive.
Thank you, Sir Casey.
We got Veronica D, the Streak Sister, 217 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Veronica D.
And we got Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, 242, baby. Thank you very much,
Thank
Sir
you,
Scott.
Sir Scott. This one, the doctor, not part of it?
Did I skip the doctor? No,
Yeah.
the good doctor is part of it.
Okay,
Doctor
yeah.
Who Done That, 18 episodes in a row.
This is Charlie, November Tango. You are approaching supernova. Repeat, you are approaching supernova.
All right.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you to those people keeping their streaks alive, supporting the show every episode. We appreciate it.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious.
Women rule!
I am being told by the chat, Guns, that Iaido is a katana practice.
Oh, maybe I should
Have you
freshen
heard
up.
that? Have you heard that phrase before? Are you familiar with that?
I think so.
I'll do a quick little searchy poo real quick. I'm pretty sure actually that does ring a bell. Yeah, Iaido is a Japanese martial art that emphasizes being aware and capable of quickly drawing the sword. Ooh.
Oh,
okay.
abbreviated. EI. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what your buddy there drawing his sword, chopping the baseball in half. That was
yes.
Iaido.
Okay.
Yes, quickly drawing the sword and responding to sudden attacks.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. Yeah,
Maybe you gotta make some Maybe that could be like a paywall reward, a Patreon reward. Just set
Watching
up a
me.
live cam. Set up a live cam. I will throw baseballs at you, and you try to cut them.
What's
you try
your
to slice them?
What's your top speed on your fastball?
I don't know. I have not thrown a fastball since I was about 16 years old.
Ooh,
so
okay.
So that might be nice. I probably am not going to hit you with a 90 mile per hour fastball.
I'll come after you if you hit me with the ball.
Yeah, you have a sword, so that is a kind of tips the scales a little bit. We can start with fruit. We'll start with oranges.
Yes.
And I'll just lob some oranges at you.
So we'll do some real life Fruit Ninja. Is that what I'm hearing?
We'll make on the website, the supply droppers, they'll get a password to log into the back end of the website, and it'll just be like a 24-hour live cam of me throwing fruit at you. And eventually you'll get pretty good. I mean, you can only get smacked in the face with an orange or a banana so many times, and you'll get pretty good at EIDO, I think, pretty quick.
That sounds like a plan. And then we can take all that fruit we chop up and feed the homeless with it or something?
Feed it to the emus, the chickens and stuff.
Yeah.
The bunnies.
Yeah.
We got
we got homeless like pets over here. You got emus on your farm. Over to California.
I do have homeless bunnies. I got jackrabbits jumping around all over the place. They are. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to tell which bunnies are mine and which are not.
Jackrabbits. Yeah.
I told you there was another great bunny escape the other day.
Yeah.
And I'm running around and catching bunnies, putting bunnies back in the cage. There's a good chance that I caught I found a rabbit. He was stuck in the feed shed. And I caught this rabbit who had gotten stuck in the feed shed, and I put him in with the rest of the rabbits. And I'm pretty sure that he was a wild rabbit before, because he is so athletic and he does this stomping thing. He jumps he is way more athletic than all my lazy bunnies. and he does this thing where he like slaps the ground really hard with his foot. He thumps
like dominant move.
And it seems like a scary wild jackrabbit sort of defense mechanism. I may be getting some wild rabbit genes into the gene pool here.
Yeah. Okay, good job.
So just keeping that in mind.
You've contaminated
Why am I bringing this up?
your rabbit situation.
That's my homeless population is homeless rabbits that I somehow, against all good advice, am taking in and mixing in with the gene pool.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Hey, I'm seeing some people in the chat saying they would pay for the Fruit Ninja, Canary Cry Fruit Ninja live cam. All right. Well, thank you, everybody who keeps this show going. We appreciate it very much. The value for value model is definitely not as stable as taking corporate money, but that's just part of the lifestyle, I suppose. At least we can sleep at night knowing that we are not doing the bidding of some sort of corporate lizard overlord. And if that's something that you appreciate, please consider supporting the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Head on over to canarycryradio.com/support for more information on that. And thank you for your patronage.
canarycryradio.com/support. Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
It's Corona time.
COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID-19,
COVID-19.
COVID-19, COVID-19.
Coronavirus.
Vaccine, number one way.
Yeah. Basil disappeared. That's okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was adjusting something there. I'm back now.
Are you?
Yeah. So we got some COVID vaccine stuff, and again, for the YouTube moderators, and whether they be on with us live or they are responding to an appeal to something, everything that you're about to hear is written in the mainstream media. Yes, indeed. Previously, these exact things got us kicked off and lost us over 250,000 subscribers. But don't do it again, please, because bring it up with Lena Wen if you have a problem with what's about to be said.
Interesting.
That's right. Our story here comes from Washington Post, and the Washington Post has a headline that says, "We are overcounting COVID deaths and hospitalizations. That's a problem." We are overcounting. What is? Yeah,
I thought this is misinformation. Why isn't Leanna Wen kicked off? Why isn't she canceled? Why isn't Susan knocking on her door?
That's a very good question. This certainly is another story that accounted for at least one of our suspensions, which contributed to losing some channels.
Medical misinformation.
Yes, but Lena Wen, especially the fact that this is coming from Lena Wen is notable because Lena Wen, if you don't remember, this is Dr. Lena Wen, who would go on CNN and she would call unvaccinated people dirty dogs, and she would, talk about how these unvaccinated demons need to be rounded up and excluded from society, and how, pretty much anything that went against the narrative, the mainstream government narrative, was domestic terrorism. She spent lots of time trying to, or claiming to debunk lots of conspiracy theories or domestic terrorist propaganda about the vaccine and other things, telling people to wear masks. And now she's writing opinion pieces talking about how we're overcounting COVID deaths and hospitalizations and how that's a problem.
Oh, let's see. Just for real quick, we do have some old Leanna Wen clips from 2021. Should we play a couple just to get a feel?
Yes, of course.
Okay, Dr. Wen can't trust unvaccinated.
I actually support what the CDC is now doing, which is going back to this indoor mask requirement, because frankly, we know that we can't trust the unvaccinated, that they have been walking around without masks. And in fact, that's what led to the surge that we're seeing.
Okay, so there's an example.
You can't trust the unvaccinated. That's what I'm talking about. This is Dr. Lena Wen. She's not just someone who parroted the government narrative, but really was responsible for a lot of the most inflammatory statements, like the stuff that really got people to lose their jobs, be excommunicated from their families, to be truly demonized. A lot of that was coming straight from Dr. Lena Wen.
Yeah.
And so imagine my surprise. Now, Gons, I texted you on the night of January the 13th, Friday the 13th, after the show. I texted you. I may have even used some language that I would not normally use on air or off to sort of express the sort of overwhelming sense of injustice when this article came across my desk here. It was unbelievable. I mean, first of all, I see Washington Post. Okay, great. Here we go. We are overcounting COVID deaths and hospitalizations. That's a problem. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that the Washington Post is printing that we're overcounting COVID deaths and hospitalizations. And then I see it's written by Dr. Lena Wen. And I totally lost my mind. Absolutely lost it. So,
there we go.
There you go. So let's read a little bit about how Dr. Lena Wen thinks we are overcounting COVID deaths. And again, I do hope that the YouTube people are reading this, because if there will be any, sort of reinstatements of the Face Like the Sun channel, the YouTube channels. If there's going to be any sort of restitutions or anything like that,
recensions. Is that a word?
Yes, lots of things. The great recensions. What is the word where they owe us money? They owe us money for oppressing us, and the truth even though this is a couple years later here. It says, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the United States is experiencing around 400 COVID deaths every day. At that rate, there would be nearly 150,000 deaths a year. But are these Americans dying from COVID or with COVID?
What?
Whoa.
Are you kidding me?
The exact same words that got us kicked off of YouTube. Now printed by Lena Wen.
My goodness.
In the Washington
Hey,
Post.
welcome to the party, Lena Wen. I'm glad you're half awake.
Yeah.
Or something.
Has she gone full? Has she gone full?
No
Conspiracy
way.
theories?
No way. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. She's
See,
just,
and this.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Eric, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I'm just
but
saying
you're
that
right.
she's riding the trend here. That's all it seems like she's doing. But
Yep, and it's been almost exactly a year since we first identified the ship tank, turning around.
it's been a couple years probably now because I think it was
2021,
summer 2021 when we
sorry,
started noticing.
end of 2021. It was like December of 2021.
Yeah.
Is when CNN started to change their tune. Everybody started to change their tune, and we said, yeah, it'll probably take a year or so, and it'll. Everybody in the mainstream will be saying exactly the things that we are saying. And here we are. Understanding so Americans dying from COVID or with COVID. Understanding this distinction is crucial to putting the continuing toll of the coronavirus into perspective. Determining how likely it is an infection will result in hospitalization or death helps people weigh their own risk. It also enables health officials to assess when vaccine effectiveness wanes and future rounds of boosters are needed. Now, again, remember, she's still a part of the establishment. So understanding the COVID deaths is not about anything except for how we can better distribute vaccines and boosters. So you can see this interesting, using the same data that's been out for 2.5 years, using the same data, the same arguments, although she's putting it into a little bit of perspective. 2 infectious disease experts I spoke with believe that the number of deaths attributed to COVID is far greater than the actual number of people dying from COVID. So there you go. The deaths being attributed to COVID is far greater than the actual number of people dying from COVID. Robin Dretler, an attending physician at Emory Decatur Hospital and the former president of Georgia's chapter of Infectious Diseases Society of America, estimates that at his hospital, 90% of patients diagnosed with COVID are actually in the hospital for some other illness. Wow. Yeah, doesn't that sound familiar, Gons? The crazy thing is, this has been the case since the very beginning. And the actual, we're taking it straight from data, straight from the CDC, straight from the FDA. The data was always available. And now just the timing is right that they can take the same position and use it and put it into a context that further serves not just the pharma companies and the government, but also serves the mainstream media. Remember, they're all obsessed with regaining trust.
Yeah.
So the level of knowledge about the from and with argument, you have to assume reached enough people to where it was finally in their benefit. It outweighed the punishment that came, but it's in their benefit now to attribute this data to the real situation. Quote, since every hospitalized patient gets tested for COVID, many are incidentally positive, he said. A gunshot victim or someone who had a heart attack, for example, would test positive for the virus, but the infection had no bearing on why they sought medical care. They literally quote the gunshot victim. Remember the gunshot victim. This is what really sealed the deal for a lot of people, and this was early on. This was like 2020, the gunshot victim was considered a death from COVID.
What was the data? I think this is based on the CDC report that just came out that said they had tallies of like the wrongful counts that included, I think it was, I can't remember the number. It was some,
They were keeping two lists.
Yeah.
They were keeping two lists. They were keeping the list of with and from, but they were like combining them for the public.
I think recently, and this is why Leanna Wen is, writing this article and making this whole thing public, is that the CDC came out with numbers and they clarified, and there were a bunch of deaths that were labeled COVID that, again, had nothing to do with it. Gunshot victim being one of them. I forget the number though. I think it was like 40 or 70, somewhere in there.
I don't remember.
People. Yeah.
But they also had, the motorcycle accident guy, the guy who fell off a ladder in Texas, died from COVID. Right. And they even get more specific here. Dretler also sees patients with multiple concurrent infections. Quote, people who have very low white blood cell counts from chemotherapy might be admitted because of bacterial pneumonia or foot gangrene. Remember the whole pneumonia thing? There's all these people dying from pneumonia, and they are calling it COVID. They may also have COVID, but COVID is not the main reason why they're so sick. Anthony Fauci was confronted about this in front of Congress by Rand Paul, I believe. Sorry. Yeah. Was it Rand Paul?
It was Rand.
No.
Yeah. I thought it was Rand Paul.
No, Rand is the dad.
No, Ron is the dad.
Oh, Ron is the dad. Okay, come on, guys. Have more creativity with your children's names. If these patients die, COVID might be added to their death certificate along with the other diagnoses. But the coronavirus was not the primary contributor to their death and often played no role at all. Dretler is quick to add that the imprecise reporting is not because of bad intent. Really. Look, I'm even willing to give them that. Maybe. I mean, I could see a world in which I forgive them for, the maybe not having bad intent. Maybe they did have good intent.
I don't even care. It's
true.
If you are admitting bad intent, you are also admitting incompetence. So
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm agreeing with you. It doesn't matter. I can give them not bad intent, but if it's not bad intent, it's absolutely untrustworthy incompetence. Yeah. And even if you didn't have bad intent, it resulted in bad consequences for people everywhere. Yeah. It continues. There is no truth to the conspiracy theory that hospitals are trying to exaggerate coronavirus numbers for some nefarious purpose. Cool.
Okay.
But he said, quote, is profitability is getting money from the government? Making money is not nefarious, you see. Exactly. That might not be nefarious. Mm-hmm. But he said, quote, inadvertently overstating risk can make the anxious more anxious and the skeptical more skeptical.
Oh, yeah. Maybe like a kind of like
downplaying.
A fear. The fear of pandemic.
Fear-based mind control.
Basil, just a little inside baseball. Before the show, I had a whole bunch of clips of a guy, and we're not going to play him. But one of the points that this doctor made, I had a clip of a bunch of fringy doctors that aren't being accepted by, not mainstream, not even the alt doctors. The McCulloughs and the Malones. He's being rejected by it. But anyway, one of the points he made was that this pandemic is actually a fear. And he was a medical professional, and he was saying that, 10 years ago in 2010, every year there was like one or two people in a group of maybe 20 or 30 friends that would get the flu, and they would maybe get hospitalized. Usually not. Usually they just sweat it out at home, right? Let's say one year, as a doctor, you're the doctor friend, you say, hey, this year's flu is going to kill a bunch of people, right?
Yeah.
When they get the flu, they're going to freak out and they're going to go to the hospitals and think that they're going to die, right? So that concept of the pandemic of fear is true. It really is a psychological thing that was played on the entire world population. And that's the thing that I it's so disturbing for me to read Leanna Wen acknowledge really blatant points that were made by armchair folks like us and accept those criticisms, or at least those questions, as part of the way things are unfolding. It's more mainstream now, but still not acknowledging the psychological effects in this, admitting, I guess, that she's responsible for inducing this fear and anxiety in not the entire population, but a large portion of the population that believes our institutional authorities and things of that nature. So I don't know. Sorry, just going on a rant.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. This is one of those things. It affects everything. Yeah. I mean, the COVID kill count was a metric that had a running counter on CNN in the corner. They had a box that had a moving counter of deaths from COVID. And it's the number of deaths affected everything. It affected politicians. It affected lockdowns.
Masks.
It affected everything was based on that. So you can't just say whoopsie daisies. And they go through, they talk, they just type a bunch of words about how, it affected hospital beds and things like this, and it affected people's blah, 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 blah. And it's all very lame. I am going to skip down to about the third to last paragraph here in a second. But yeah, the death count was everything. It was a number repeated hundreds of times a day. It was pounded into people's brains. It justified bad behavior. It justified firing people, excommunicating people, demonizing people. It was everything. And now it's just like, whoopsies, we shouldn't do that. And let me give you another reason. Both Dretler and Doran have faced criticism from people who say they are minimizing COVID. That is not at all their aim. They have taken care of COVID patients throughout the pandemic and have seen the evolution of the disease. Earlier on, COVID pneumonia often killed otherwise healthy people. Today, most patients in their hospitals carrying the coronavirus are there for other reasons. They want the public to see what they are seeing because, as Doran says, quote, overcounting COVID deaths undermines people's sense of security and the efficacy of the vaccines. So that's why we don't want to overcount the deaths anymore, because it's undermining the efficacy of the vaccines. So actually now it's within the profit motive of pharma to actually be clear about the death count. To be clear, it says, if the COVID death count turns out to be 30% of what's currently reported, that's still unacceptably high.
Okay, take that moral high ground.
Yes. Even if there's one death from COVID, it still justifies everything.
Get over yourself. Okay, continue.
But that knowledge could help people better gauge the risks of traveling, indoor dining. The risks of indoor dining, still referring to the risks of indoor dining, Gons, and activities they have yet to resume. Most importantly, knowing who exactly is dying from COVID can help us identify who is truly vulnerable.
Oh my God.
These are the patients we need to protect through better vaccines and treatments.
Oh, even treatment is loaded.
Yes, we gotta know who's getting the ivermectin. I mean, the Paxlovid, the double whammy.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we were not the only people to realize the hypocrisy of what was going on and be upset by it. NewYorkPost.com headline, CNN analyst slammed after writing COVID deaths are being undercounted. 2.5 years late, all caps here. CNN medical analyst and Washington Post columnist Dr. Lean Owen admitted in a column Friday that the medical community is overcounting the amount of COVID deaths in hospitalizations. Wen, who writes an occasional Washington Post column providing her observations on the pandemic, masking, and other COVID-related subjects, cited sources claiming that most patients, quote, patients diagnosed with COVID are actually in the hospital with some other illness. The article titled, "We are overcounting COVID deaths and hospitalizations. That's a problem." Wen's observations prompted readers on Twitter to complain, stating that it's 2.5 years late. Then they've got some examples here of some tweets of people very angry about this. I don't know, New York Post kind of just went through the same stuff that we went through, actually a little bit lamer than we did, but people are noticing, man, and that's kind of the strange, I was talking to somebody and I was telling them how sort of upset I was at this. I said, this is really upsetting. We got kicked off of YouTube. We've been saying this for 2.5 years. Other people have too, but everybody's been punished for just reading the data. Yep. And this person said, I understand, but aren't you happy that like more people are coming to the understanding that you are trying, the truth that you're trying to share the whole time? And I thought about it, and I thought to myself, I should say yes. That would be the grown-up thing to do. I should say yes. But I thought about it better, and I'm not actually very happy about this. Of course, there's the personal reasons. But at the same time, as you read in the Lena Wen article, it's being spun. It's not without spin. It's the data that's been out for a long, long time being retooled again to benefit the people who are committing the crimes in the first place. It's being spun to support more vaccines and interventions, and not to not lock down, but to knowing who to lock down. Who should we protect? Who gets the boosters now? It's actually a much more sinister version if more people know this, because now they can say, oh, well, we should just lock down old people, or we should just lock down unvaccinated people because they are the ones dying, or whatever, whatever they decide the data says. It's not actually that great.
Well, I don't know what this is going to change other than maybe the snake that is mainstream media and all of its institutions continuing to wiggle around and profit from fear, really. I mean, they'll spin it to whatever is necessary to keep the money train, to keep the cash flow going. So,
yeah, exactly.
It's really, while there are many layers of evil that we've talked about and uncovered and discovered throughout this whole process, it really goes back to a real simple biblical principle. The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And I feel like that's what this is. I mean, the entire big pharma, it can be very much summarized in this biblical principle of the love of money, not money itself, but the love of money. And that really seems to be driving the logic, or the irrational logic, of a lot of these columnists and celebrity doctor types that, and I am hoping that Leanna Wen privately has had her moment of like, oh no, but maybe not, maybe not, who knows? I'm not in her head,
I don't know. But I mean, it's tough because she's notoriously just been an agent of the establishment. Yeah. And so, like the person I was talking to saying, aren't you happy that the agent of the establishment is coming to her senses? And it's really not, because there is no evidence to say that this won't be spun and used to benefit the establishment. Her identity is as an agent of the establishment. So whatever she is saying is going to be used to benefit the establishment. Or else she wouldn't be saying it. So the fact that she is talking about it means they have found a way to spin it towards more oppression, more lockdowns, more deception.
The surveillance and lack of privacy, comes into play with this because, hey, again, we need to identify exactly. We have a better profile about who might be at risk. So let's look at all the profiles of all the people.
Target it.
Yeah, we need to target.
You got to target the lockdowns, target the everything. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, it's very interesting to watch, but it is frustrating. The end of the New York Post article does quote author AJK, who tweeted, quote, well, yeah, you'd think seeing this in legacy media would offer a feeling of vindication or resolution for those of us who have been screaming about it since 2020. But really, it's just exasperation, anger, and grief. The lies cause so much harm. The Australian journalist Adam Creighton tweeted, quote, people saying this a year ago were booted off social media. Yeah, exactly. Brownstone Institute President Jeffrey Tucker tweeted, quote, "This is not just recently true. This has been true for 3 years. We truly do not know how many actually died from COVID, which means that not even the CFR is accurate." Timcast staff writer Adrian Norman wrote, quote, 2.5 years late. So I am happy that other people are responding this way, and it's not just me being petty. Isn't that nice?
Well, real quickly, and then we got a quick Nephilim. We got to keep moving here. DailyMail.co.uk had this headline: Moderna begins trialing mRNA shot that is injected directly into the heart, all caps, to treat heart attack patients. So don't worry, folks. If you have a heart attack, just make sure you got a jab on hand and pump in that mRNA, and you'll be just fine.
It's really funny too, because they're calling it a heart attack vaccine, and it's because people who have heart attacks, they have a high chance of having another one in 5 years. So this one, if you get a heart attack, then you take this vaccine, and then it's supposed to, lower your chances or whatever of having another one in the next 5 years. But yeah, they inject it straight into your heart, and I think it's called, let me do a quick little search on here. Yeah, it's an mRNA vaccine. They shoot it right into your heart, and it encodes for a hormone named relaxin. Relaxin. Which chills out your heart.
Relaxin jab, folks.
Get that relaxin jab right into the old ticker, baby.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wanted to just see if you caught this or what you think about it. The full capitalization of the word heart in the headline. Do you know where we saw that recently?
Trump!
That's right. That's right. Donald Trump. Randomly, it was when Diamond and Silk, I think it was Diamond, that passed away. Yeah. And then Trump made a tweet and said she had she had
such a wonderful heart, all caps,
strong
just
heart.
Triggering his base.
Right,
he knows what he's doing.
Course, trying to trigger the reference to the mRNA stuff,
died suddenly,
or the myocarditis or whatever. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. Daily Mail did the same thing, capitalizing the word heart all the way through. It's very strange.
It's a pandemic of the heart. That's what's next, folks. The heart will fail us. Anyway, real quick, from the heart to other parts of the body.
Nephilim update.
Adult themes, just a quick warning, because adult themes. But also,
we'll see how Gons does.
Don't worry, because it's from Christianity Today, you see.
Yeah. It's printed in Christianity Today, so...
the headline here, what's up with weird Bible sex? Why you shouldn't skip over the R-rated parts of Genesis. And I thought, interesting article from Christianity Today by Drew Johnson. And let me just read a couple paragraphs and then I'll get to the main part here. So you're starting a Bible reading plan in Genesis? Well, buckle up, because Genesis might be the most sexually wild book in the Old Testament. Of course, that's not how we tend to think of Genesis, but the sex scenes are there. From the slightly cringy to the extremely upsetting, sex appears with and without euphemism in these origin stories of Israel. I still remember the first few times that I read the book of Genesis as a new Christian. I didn't know much about it beyond some vague notions of a flood and a guy named Abraham. I was a blank slate reader. I never expected to find scenes that couldn't have been shown on broadcast television as salacious as the first few episodes of an HBO series. But of course, these are not scenes of erotic titillation designed to hook the audience. Something much stranger is happening. Sex, we learn from the first book of our scripture, is central to our participation in God's work. The topic arises ordinarily and early in the book of Genesis. Both creation accounts end with sexualized humans. In Genesis 1, we read, in the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. The male-female image of God already contains the potential for sex, and the two sexes have at least one purpose: procreation. The second creation account ends with man and women becoming one flesh. And it goes through just a bunch of examples. Okay, we got the garden, we got Rebecca, Rachel, from various parts of the Old Testament, from Genesis. I'm not going to go through all of it because it's just, there's a lot. Anyone who reads the Bible today may be tempted to skip over the sex. It can seem crude, too impolite, or at least not spiritually edifying for our morning devotions. But I want to argue that we should read the Bible that we have and take it seriously, even the R-rated bits. When you read Genesis, pay attention to the details of the sex. They're trying to teach us about the nature of our bodies and communities before God. And then there's a subheading here. When sex unravels us. Consider the ways sex in Genesis unravels people and institutions. Even today, people who have survived in lawless lands and war zones know that sexual violence degrades the person, the family, and the broader society. And then it's a quote here. This is what we see in Genesis when foreigners enter the town of Sodom. Quote, the men of Sodom, both young and old, all the people to the last man, descended upon Lot's house to commit sexual violence upon the foreigners and scar the collective memories and identities of communities. Such violence traumatizes everyone involved, including the ones inflicting violence. Now, one thing he doesn't mention here, the foreigners were angels. The angel of the two angels that went with Lot to Sodom.
Yeah.
So just a little detail that's not really, mentioned in this little thing here. Lot pleads with all the men in the town not to violate the sanctity of the shelter of his roof. In a bizarre turn, Lot attempts to extend his protection over the valuable foreigners by offering his two daughters to be sexually violated by the mob. When Genesis descends into the genre of horror, it entangles the atrocities of weaponized sex with the plight of the vulnerable, as it does in Sodom. And it goes into Jacob's child as a tool for political negotiation. Even when sex isn't violent, Genesis shows us ways it can destabilize societies and harm people for generations. On and on it goes. And then there's a little sentence here. Sex, it seems, can unhinge a community. There are many more examples, from the Nephilim to Onan, demonstrating a wild array of ways that weaponized sex shatters more than individuals. Now,
it's an interesting reference to make to the Nephilim.
The author here does not go into the details of the Nephilim, but I would argue if you're going to say that there is bizarre, sort of weird, dark things associated with the topic, and you mention Nephilim, you have to be aware of the topic there. The fact that they don't actually go into any detail suggests to me that, mainstream Christianity is not ready for this topic. But at least the name Nephilim is mentioned.
That's the funny part. Yeah, it is. It's Christianity today. He's kind of hinting at the Nephilim and the concept, and most people reading that probably wouldn't think twice about it. They'll just be like, Nephilim, that's weird. Kind of like when you do read actual Genesis 6. Right. And you read it, and you kind of get to the end, and you're kind of like, oh, that was weird. And then you just kind of keep going.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's funny. He's like, I'm not going to dive into this one in Christianity today.
But it can unhinge a community. Yeah, I'd say the Nephilim thing unhinged the community. It did unhinge the whole world. God was like, okay, we're gonna drown these things here. A little too hilarious. Abominable.
Certainly unhinged the community just a bit there.
Just a bit. It did, though, shatter more than individuals. I would agree with that as well. So anyway, I just thought that was a fun little drop of the word Nephilim in a Christianity Today article that'll make you blush. So there you go.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much for that, Gons. And with that, I think we should thank some of our artists.
We shall. Once I am able to. Break. Oh my gosh, what is going on? What was that? Let me try that.
I don't know. Things are wild today.
This is break. Don't just consume the content, but become the content. Become the content. All right, we're going to take a moment to thank our producers who come in with their God-given talent. We provide free value with this podcast, and one way you can provide value back is by helping us build the culture here behind the community at Canary Cry News Talk. and that's through your talent. And we're going to kick it off with, I believe we have a speak pipe.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
All right, go to canarycrynewstalk.com and look for a green tab on the right side or the bottom. Click on it. It'll open a little window where you can record a message to us up to 90 seconds, and it gives us the right to play it or not. Thank you to producer Joe. I think it's producer Joe. Yeah, I don't know if there was another name you want to go with, but producer Joe giving us some of the notes there. We appreciate that, so thank you for that. But we also have one here from Rochelle.
Happy Monday, Canarians. I am so excited. I have a request from Kira for Romans 12:2, but I don't have time to read it to you. So please read it. It is so beautiful. Anyway, what came out was, Lord, brainwash me. Lord, brainwash me. Do not let this world conform me. I need you to transform me. Can you renew my mind and leave my past behind? He does not care about earthly possessions. He says to drive out the dark oppressions. Can you be my guide? Lord of the wind and tide. When I mess up, please show it to me. Let the path that is right transform me. Help me forget my pride. Brainwash me out of the dark side. Thank you, Kira. Everyone, stay strong for Jesus.
Thank you very much, Rochelle.
Thank you, Rochelle. I'm sorry, this is a side note. I'm trying to check out Rumble. Is something wrong with our Rumble feed? It's working.
I do not know.
Yeah, I only see one person watching over there, which is a little unusual. But all right, thank you very much, Rochelle.
I'm not seeing any, which is even more unusual.
Yeah, we're censored by Rumble now.
No.
We don't know that.
We probably just messed something up.
Yeah, probably. But all right, thank you very much, Rochelle, and thank you to again producer Joe for some of the notes there. We're gonna do some audio production.
Audio production. Productions.
First person and only person, actually, that had some audio production for us today was Jonathan F.
Jonathan F.
Had a note. He says, hello, thought we needed a Davos WEF jingle, and we got one. Davos is Pergamum.
Fun.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, we did.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. No, it is time. It's that time of year again.
Yep. I know. It goes so quick. You know, I really wished we had figured out the NWO Fantasy League, because this event, it's almost like the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's true. This is the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So maybe next time. Maybe the Bilderberg group this year, we can get something together. But yeah, there you go. Thank you very much, Jonathan F. We're going to do some art now.
One art, please.
And we kick it off with Sir Dove.
One art piece from Dove.
As a note piece for this week's Bible artwork, I made a bootleg logo and mascot for the ancient city of Jericho from Joshua 6:5. And when there is a long blast of the ram's horn and you hear its sound, have all the people give a mighty shout. Then the wall of the city will collapse and all your people will charge straight into the city. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins.
Yeah, this is hilarious. Thank you, Sir Dove. It is kind of in the style of the stickers he's been making, but it's kind of like a collegiate logo.
Right.
And up top, it's got the collegiate font saying Jericho. And then you've got a palm tree with some googly eyes. He's blowing on his ram's horn, walking around with a crumbled rock wall behind him. It says City of Palms there down on the bottom. This is very good. We're going to need to we maybe put this on a shirt or something. We could do like a collegiate shirt, or definitely a sticker. Easy. This is awesome. Thank you, Sir Dove.
Great job. And thank you for your continued value providing, Sir Dove. Appreciate it. Okay, next up we have Isabel G. And she had a note that said, "Hey guys, I've been listening for a while up here in Canada, and I figured it was about time I sent something in. Hope you guys like it." And here's a lovely drawing of a canary.
Yes, this looks like maybe a combination of pencil and colored pencil. It's got this ribbon, sort of flowy ribbon-looking thing up at the top. It says Canary Cry News Talk on it. I think that's from
our logo, right?
Reminiscent of the logo, yes, indeed. And you've got this very nice yellow canary sitting on or standing on a twig or a branch or something.
Yeah.
He looks very ponderous, looking off in thought. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And we're
Isabel G.
Isabel G, yes. And I feel like our podcast, I'm sure most podcasts, but especially ours, is good for doodlers. You're kind of just listening. You can kind of get a notepad out, start doodling around, and
it's just something will inspire you. Something will inspire you.
Thank you very much, Isabel G. All right. Next up, we have Sir Salmon's Night of the Fishes.
Oh my gosh, I'm realizing I forgot to put Sir Salmon's art in the newsletter. Nuts.
Oh, no.
Sorry,
you can do it on the next one.
Sir
It's a good one, man. This is
it is real good. I can't believe I forgot. Okay.
It's got a note. "Hey, yo, guys, hope your weekend was enjoyable and filled to the brim with awesome dad jokes." It was. For my art today, I have painted Gons in samurai robes, meditating on the word of God in his dojo. Blazoned onto his chest is the emblem of the Hosokawa clan, to which he is related. Hope you guys like it. Many blessings from the fishes. And this is
very cool.
Yeah.
Sir Salmons, that's who did this one. Yes, we've got a very sort of noble looking Gons with his hair pulled back into a top knot. He's got his glasses on there, and he is sort of in a cross-legged samurai pose. You got the Bible down there in front of him there with a red bookmark kind of sticking out, the ribbon. To his left, he's got his katana resting honorably beside him. And the lighting is real notable on this.
Yes.
It's sort of backlit through the Japanese paper wall, and it's very dramatic, and it's very cool.
I even noticed the little specks on the sides. I don't know if you can see those, Basil.
Yes, the dust motes floating in the light there. It's really well done.
Very good attention to
detail. Very well done. Thank you very much, Sir Salmons. I'll be sure to put this in a future newsletter.
Yeah, this is the one I need to show my wife and say, "Hey, look, I can grow my hair out, and I'll just look more like a samurai."
I know. I'm surprised you haven't got the top knot going yet, buddy.
Yeah. Maybe in the future. Thank you very much, Sir Salmon's Night of the Fishes. Appreciate it. And let's move on to microfiction.
Microfiction.
I believe the only one we have is from Rung Smash, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we had multiples come in. And of course, I am not actually sure if I did this correctly. So let's see. Stefan S. sent one on Friday.
Oh, on the 14th.
Did we read on the 13th? He also sent one on the 14th.
Oh, so maybe it is okay. All right.
I think maybe he sent in a couple. Let me check. I'm checking the one from the 13th. Yeah, so the one from the 13th was the disgraced German coach. So then there was one that came in the 14th. We can do that one too.
Okay.
All right, I got it. Yeah.
All right, so
but we'll start with Rung Smashes.
Okay, let's do Rung Smash.
Rung Smash.
Moving in swiftly, the pirates approach the balloon-like entity. A small woman checks for booby traps. She thanks God there are none and signals for her partner. Bolting from the shadows is a large woman with a fire axe. She hacks her way in depthly.
Like that balloon-like entity making an appearance.
Those balloon-like entities showing up. Thank you very much, Runk Smash.
Yep.
And we wanted to give a shout out to Jack H.
Yeah.
Jack H
What's up,
is
Jack
right.
H?
A cage got rattled recently, so we're giving you a shout out, Jack H. And there's a live jingle for Jack H.
All right.
Hope
Thank you
you're
very
listening. Hope you made it this far. We'll see.
Yeah, appreciate it. Okay, so now we have Stefan S. And
yes.
His, microphone.
Are you able to copy and paste
It's already in there, buddy. Already in there.
Well, as of a half a second ago? Yes, actually, as of a half a second ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, here we go.
At MI6 HQ, Agent 22 hands his PPK over for a VR headset. Nigel, you're now assigned to AUNT's virtual counterintelligence operations. Time to eradicate the malinformation. Is my license to kill revoked? Not for processes, smirks M.
M.
Trading in his license to kill for license to censor.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you very much, Stefan S.
Thank you, Stefan S. And that does it for all the producers who came in with their talent. We appreciate you all.
That's right. And there's even more creative producers out there. Be like Isabel G. Be like some of these producers who are coming in for the first time. If you're a creative person, whether you're a musician or an artist or whatever, head on over to canarycry.art in your browser. That's canarycry.art, and fill out that form. Upload your art to the show. We'd love to feature it. It goes a long way to creating and maintaining the culture and the community here, so we can defeat the artificial intelligence for content creation supremacy on the internet. canarycry.art. All right.
It's cold, Basil. It's cold. Antarctica, go first.
The snowstorm. Antarctica. Ice scientists are penguins.
Antarctica, they're opening the abyss.
So a new discovery. Antarctica.
Penguins.
All right. Got a few things to talk about here from Antarctica to wrap up the show. And there's a theme happening here. And we've tracked, one of the things I think we do best, Basil, is track themes and patterns, and because we look at so many headlines and stories, and not all of them we report on, but whenever we see patterns and stuff, we like to point it out because there is something there. And leading up to one of the main articles that we're going to read, I just have a couple things to point out, and this first one is from stuff.co.nz, and the headline, White Silence, the podcast about the disaster you think you know, but probably don't. White silence. And you know what? I don't even know what it's about, but it doesn't really matter. I just got triggered by the title White Silence. It's like, man, what kind of, what is this? But they're not alone. The Virginia pilot, pilotonline.com, reviews all the white spaces, a harrowing journey through Antarctica. More white things happening. White space, white silence. But then also, The Monthly had this article, Antarctica at Sydney Festival. And this one was interesting because Antarctica, there's a play or an opera titled Antarctica that's being played at the Sydney Festival. Antarctica is a stew of contradictions, high-tech staging for a story set almost 200 years ago. Music that wafts effortlessly between a rigorous modernism and Gregorian plainsong. The quasi-narrative asks us to view the great southern continent through the eyes of the 19th century characters, even while grappling with 21st century social change and the looming loss of the Earth's natural environment. Ooh. The text is coded in the visual program language Touch Designer using noise algorithms that randomly select and project fragments relating to place, name, flora and fauna in the southern seas, stars and the blah, 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 blah. And, for those of you watching, there's a short video. I'm not going to play the sound, but basically, it's kind of like a high-tech imagery and visuals to go along with the story that is set 200 years ago, and lots of lights flashing and very code and things like that. So yes, more digitization type of stuff going on. But I come to this main article, and it's from thetimes.co.uk, and the headline is "Cold People" by Tom Rob Smith review. Surviving an alien invasion in Antarctica.
Ooh.
Yes. And look, we don't usually bring book reviews to the show, but it's interesting when many different topics meet in a times.co.uk review of a book. Let me just read a little bit to get an idea here. Lisa, a Harvard medical student, of course, is on holiday in Lisbon with her parents and younger sister when gigantic alien fish shapes descends from the sky and orders all people to vacate the habitable parts of their planet for Antarctica, the only continent on which humans have never been able to settle. Already, come on, you got gigantic alien fish shapes that come down from the sky, and then they start telling all the people to get down to Antarctica. Is this some kind of? Are they calling the aliens? Is that Jesus, the fish?
It's sort of like some kind of Jungian, archetypal sort of dream messaging for the liberal white, the rich white liberals to get down to Antarctica because the rest of the world is unsafe.
Right. 20 years later, it gets even better. You think this is, the alien fish shapes coming down and pushing people to Antarctica. You think that's the interesting part about this story? No. 20 years later, in a ramshackle, endlessly retrofitted settlement called Hopetown on the Antarctic Peninsula, Lisa, one of the very few survivors, gives birth to Echo, a genetically engineered daughter whose modifications allow her to withstand the bitter cold. Echo is one of various prototypes of future human beings designed by the heroically unprincipled geneticist Song Fu, aided and abetted by Yotam Penzak, the book's splendidly drawn anti-hero. So we got genetically engineered babies who can withstand the cold. And now we have a whole different problem. Yotam, who attended Echo's birth, thinks Echo and her post-human kind are a worthy end in themselves. He sees them as powerful and humane, capable of nurturing natural life in its impossible new environment. Yotam's boss disagrees. The remains of humanity will die out in not much more than a century, Song says. A more radical succession is required, some kind of master race, if mankind is to survive in any form. Yeah, so,
Great.
a little master race conversation.
Hey.
There.
Yeah. I mean, Antarctica has always been the favorite, vacation spot for Nazis. Why not just sort of give a good justification for neoliberals to think the same?
Yep. And then it goes into some more of the stories here. But the part that I wanted to point out is more of the commentary. Cold People is far less tricksy. Plot is king in Smith's sci-fi offering. His characters aren't so much pretend people as admirable animated types. The result is a page-turner that, without offering much by way of ordinary human feeling, reveals Smith's view on the human condition. What he thinks about the plight of thinking would be ethical beings who still need to consume and burn and exploit to survive. In Smith's vision, humanity's reach so far exceeds its grasp that its downfall at its own hand seems more or less assured. So, there you go. Can you stop shaking me, please? Okay, I'll be there in a second. I'm sorry.
Oh, we got baby's getting in on the show. Well, now we know what to do when those scary fish shapes attack Earth. watch out. These fish shapes are coming for you. There's only one thing to do. Become some sort of genetically modified cold person and escape to the great white desert.
See, I feel like there is a theme here, right? There's a theme building, genetic alteration, pushing people to Antarctica from some alien invasion. I mean, it just seems like something that, and we've actually talked about the potential here for the exodus, the American exodus, and what that might look like. And we've talked about how they're going to push white folk to Antarctica, and they're going to push black folk to Africa.
There's the Afrofuturism, the return to Africa stuff, and then there's the other version, the Great White Desert.
The Great White Desert version. Yeah. So, but I think it's hilarious that the reviewer of this book recognized that this book lacks offering much by way of ordinary human feeling. And, there's some science fiction that does that. Obviously, it's an effect, to create that sort of dystopic feeling. But too much of that, and I think we can chalk it up to predictive programming. I mean, when things start to happen, we will have that emotional response of, it's like that book, Cold People. It's happening. Those fish aliens are coming down. We better pack up and go to Antarctica. And furthermore, we better genetically engineer ourselves to survive this cold landscape that we are stuck in or something.
Well, there's also the, subject of, predictive programming. And that's kind of one of the fun parts about taking a look at, of course, Hollywood, movies, things like that. But book reviews, one way to at least justify that. And I was looking to see if you said it's called Cold People? Oh, did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
I think I lost you.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
There you are. Oh, I see.
I'm sorry. Watching.
I was looking to see if they were making a movie out of Cold People. There is one backstage listing. Backstage.com is where movies can do, put out a casting call. There's a casting call for Cold People from, when is this, 2021? This says it's called, Beth is a Ghost. Okay, so we've got Beth, we've got Kimmy, we've got Asian or mixed race Asian baby. We've got Frank. Let's see, it shoots January 7th through 9th. I think this is I don't think this is the same thing. This looks like a, what is it called? Like a student film or something. Okay. I was going to say, it's about time that the Antarctica predictive programming kicks in. Oh, actually, no. This listing expired January 5th. So it's only been about 2 weeks, January 5th, 2023. So some movie called Cold People has been cast. It has been cast and quite possibly is shooting as we speak. Okay.
All right.
Well, we'll find out.
We will find out, indeed. That's it.
All right.
I'm done.
We're done.
Yeah,
We're done. We're done with the show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We'll be back on Wednesday. Surely some more exciting news shall happen before then. And I want to thank all of our producers, of course, our executive producer, Kevin M., our financial producers, our artists, our musicians, everybody, but including those who help out the show with their time, our back-end producers, including our Clippies, of course.
Clippy all those videos. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Clippies. Faye Livin and Emsworth clipping out the show, making it available. It's the Clips channel is still suspended on YouTube, but you can still subscribe to it on YouTube and on Odyssey. Just search for Canary Cry Clips, and you will get this show clipped out nice and neat every week. And go ahead and send a thank you to Emsworth and Faye Livin over there. Thank you very much, guys.
Very much.
And that is made possible by our timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
Thank you to our timestampers. Very important job. Very, people are finding a way to have fun over there. And thank you to our timestamper from Friday. I want to say that was Jade Bouncerson. Was that true?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you, Jade Bouncerson. I do want to mention, if you had been put in contact with timestampers, I hear that we are awaiting some responses. So if you were interested, you sent in an email, you've been in conversation, check your email, check your spam folder, stuff like that. We are waiting to hear back from some of them. There is a chance that we are still in need for a timestamper. But if you're out there and you want to get involved with the back end part of the show, it is direly needed for a couple of reasons. You can just email us at canarycryradio@gmail.com. But thank you to our social media gal.
The social media consultant.
Thanks so much.
Social media, follow us.
Miss G of the OV and the Deep Rivers, making sure the art gets up on the social media. We appreciate it very much. Head on over to canarycrymeetups.com to check out some
Canary
meetups.
Cry Meetups.
Yep, it's that time of year, folks. We are looking to start the meetup process again. It's been a cold one. I understand people not wanting to go out into the cold, the frosty air, but one of these days spring is on its way, and when spring has sprung, we better have some meetups on that schedule. If you go to canarycrymeetups.com, don't see a meetup near you, put one on yourself. Just pick a time, pick a place. Could be as easy as Saturday at the coffee shop or something like that, because wherever you are, there is most certainly a Canarian near you. So go to canarycrymeetups.com, check it out, let us know, put one on yourself. canarycrymeetups.com. We'll see you at the meetup.
This is fun!
If you haven't done it yet, folks, go to Apple Podcasts and search out Canary Cry News Talk. Leave a rating and review. If you haven't done it yet, what are you waiting for? It's very important. These ratings and reviews really go a long way towards helping spread the show via the algorithms.
Did you do the French thing because they canceled Pepe Le Pew?
Yes, because they canceled Pepe Le Pew guns. Yeah, go leave us some meetups. I think we got one meetup recently.
Meetup.
Oh, whoa,
you mean review?
I'm sorry, not a meetup, review. Yes, I've got logged out of our review thing, so I don't even know anymore. Oh no! But yes, leave ratings and reviews. It's very helpful. Thank you very much, especially on Apple Podcasts. But you know what? Leave them anywhere you can. I hear Audible is a good option. We'll start checking that one over there. And other than that, folks, thank you to Jam for the links. Thank you to Clank for the help. And share the show. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your plants. You know, plants, they may have chlorophyll, but they got feelings just like you and I. At least that's what the hippies tell me. So go hug a tree. Tell them about Canary Cry News Talk. And it's true. It's not going to be long before all of your podcasts are done by artificial intelligence, and they'll be good, but in a way they'll be too good. So get ready, start formulating ways to convince your friends to listen to Canary Cry News Talk, because who knows, maybe they don't care about news media analysis, maybe they don't care about robots taking over the world, maybe they don't even care about the crimes perpetrated on the people during when the past couple of years, but perhaps they just simply want to feel like there's a human podcasting at them. And that's one thing that we can always say, Gons. Canary Cry News Talk, we're human. And someday that'll be enough. That'll be enough to lure people into our news deconstruction and analysis trap.
Should we jump on the pure blood wagon?
What does that mean?
You haven't seen people use
unvaccinated?
Yeah, the unvaccinated people calling themselves pure blood.
I have seen that. It seems like a bit of a problematic things to say.
Yes, it does.
Seems like to me, it seems like a CIA operation.
It does.
To make unvaccinated people sound like Nazis.
Yeah, exactly.
I would watch out for that, folks. Yeah. The pure blood thing is probably a CIA psyop to get you to identify yourself with Nazis. Either Nazis or Slytherin, the Death Eaters. They called themselves pure blood as well. So anyways, unvaccinated humans. Don't you want to listen to them for 2.5 hours a day? Go check out Canary Cry News Talk. Anyways, thanks, folks. Just share it with your friends. Tell your friends about it. That's very helpful. If you need any more instructions, we call it rattling cages. All you got to do is walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it, baby.
The world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. All right, Gons, you got... Holy moly. It's storming over there, huh?
Well, California, we're getting our once-a-decade rain, so, you know.
Yeah, I just read an article with all this rain. You got like 90 trillion tons of rain or something, and the state is in trouble for... they didn't capture any of it. They didn't open up any of the aqueducts.
California is the only state...
They don't want the water.
It's the only state that is in a drought and flooding at the same time.
Forever. Yeah, exactly.
Gotta love it.
All right. Well, stay thirsty, Californians. Stay thirsty.
And I think,
all right, everybody.
I think I messed up on the account by which I was streaming from on Rumble, and that's why people can find us. Something happened with the...
sorry, Rumble.
Yeah, we apologize. I think we messed up on the... Yeah, okay. Well, that's what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll double check it next time. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Feed him more.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths.
We're all gonna die.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Can I tell you a sort of a twisted pleasure that I have?
It's okay.
No. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap.
It takes time. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love peeling off that big old lint trap, rolling it into a ball, peeling off that big old lint trap, just like throwing it in the trash, really. Should I be saving this?
No.
You could knit it into a scarf or something?
No.
Surely. It's very soft.
No.
This would make really good fire starter. You are a weird prepper. Hoarder. Like a weird guy, man. Weird prepper. Not normal, like a weird guy, man. Clearing out that lint trap.
No.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. That lint trap. I know it's gross, folks.
A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love that. I am constantly having to remind myself, wear a pink shirt for the show. Constantly having to remind myself, save the dryer lint, use it as fire starter, knit a scarf, save the dryer lint.
Everything
CanaryCrimeRadio.com/support.